Okay, we are live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Breakfast with Boom. Of course, it is a special one where we're going to be calling it Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. It's something that we do annually, and as we close out 2019, Mrs. Boomstick and I wanted to do something special for the community who has made this particular year absolutely incredible for Double Barrel Gaming. The channel has seen a ton of growth, and the generosity that has been bestowed upon me has been truly moving and at times simply overwhelming, to say the least. This is our annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomclaws event that we do every year. And of course, like those events in the past, we will be giving away $300 worth of digital and physical prizes. And basically, it's our way of giving back. Now, 2 times during the show, we're going to be picking 5 winners, announcing those winners randomly, of course, by using the mini web tool at .com. And we do have a total of 10 winners. And of course, as this special, very special occasion, I wanted to have an equally special panel to help me power today's show. And of course, I have done that with, as you can see, the people in here. We're just waiting on King David, who should be here momentarily. So let's get into the introductions. First up, we have a gamer not afraid to tell it like it is, a Star Wars fan who has his own empire called the Sesh Empire, one of the hardest working dudes in podcasting, a diehard gamer whose javelin is sporting some serious Mass Effect goodness, and a major cog that helps this show keep running each and every week. Please welcome So Shady.
Hey, thanks, Boom. It is so good to be here. I can't believe it's been a year since the last Christmas episode that we did together. My God, time is blowing by. It must be the amazing games coming out, man. When you're having a good time, time's just doesn't matter anymore. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm overtired. I've been up all bloody night playing Anthem and Gears and Battlefield and COD, man. I'm all into these multiplayer timed events, trying to get those cosmetics, man. But I'm here. I couldn't miss this episode. We're giving back to the community. Well, you are more specifically, which is fantastic. I'm ecstatic to be here, man. Let's get into these topics and let's start handing out the prizes.
Well, listen, dude, it's great to have you as always. And of course, I just have to do a quick shout out. Mark J. Pawns has become a channel member. Well, listen, Mark, thank you so much for that. And of course, thank you for being here. Really, truly appreciate that. Next, we have a community member that is a diehard gamer obsessed with gaming and appreciates the great worlds, characters, and villains he meets in every game he plays. He's the host of the outstanding Real Gamer Talk podcast, a PlayStation gamer who's also obsessed with platinum trophies, and a fantastic addition to Breakfast with Boom. Please welcome BitCloud Gaming.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning to you all. It's definitely going to be a good show. Like always, hit that like button, hit that share button. Let's definitely have a good one. Once again, shout out to everybody in the chat that's already here. And yeah, it's an awesome panel. It's definitely going to be quite interesting.
Well, I appreciate you being here. As always, you always bring the thunder, and that's greatly appreciated. Next, we have someone making his return to Breakfast with Boom. He's the founder of SeasonedGaming.com. He has been gaming on all platforms since the wee days of 1982 and understands that being retro is cool. He's a community member known for promoting positivity and talking about the hobby that we all know and love in a way that's refreshing, honest, and thought-provoking. Please welcome Ainsley. What's up, dude?
What's going on? I don't know if I deserve all that, Boom, but good morning anyway. Got this fresh cup of coffee. I'm ready to go, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here. We've been trying to get you on here for quite a while, and just the schedules were not working. But as we get closer to the holiday, you had some time off to spare, and we definitely appreciate that you being here. Actually, we're going to bring up one of your tweets from earlier this week that brings some real light onto the confusion of the new Series X. But let's continue with, of course, the intros. Making her outstanding return to Breakfast with Boom, we have a diehard gamer who has been known to collect and enjoy JRPGs, a voice that everyone enjoys listening to, especially when she's being nasty. She's the co-host of the Gaming After Dark and the female version of Nuke Nukem. Please welcome back Primal Eve.
Hello. I'm very glad to be back. It's been a very long time, Boom. I was honored to be on last year's Christmas episode, and so I'm very happy to be on this one too. And I sure did miss your intros.
Well, definitely appreciate you coming back for this. Obviously, it's very special. You were here for the first one, you're here for the second one, and it's great to have you back on the panel as always.
Yes.
And last, and in no way least, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a lord that exemplifies what it means to be a Platinum Card member. He's the king of statues with more comic knowledge than the entire comic encyclopedia, a retro gamer who knows a thing or two about wheeling dealing. Thanks to our grandfather from Queens, he's the muscle for Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer and a dear friend to the community. I call him brother, but you can call him your majesty. Please welcome King David.
What's going on, Boom? Ainsley, what's going on,
What's up, man?
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late. I was updating my PC. Woo.
It always updates at the most inopportune time for sure.
Yeah.
But it's great, certainly great to have you here. This is a special episode, and I wanted to surround myself with special people, and everybody on this panel is falls under that umbrella. But I want to go into the topics right away, obviously, I've been told by several people, some nice, some nasty, that we take too long with the intros, and I say, well, it's my show, and I'll do what I want. So if you fast forward 7 minutes, these people deserve. Everyone that's on this panel deserves an intro like I do it. Anyone that works with me is going to get the royal treatment. But let's get into the first topic now.
So they want you to throw it in the bushes, quote unquote?
They want to throw it in the bushes, and I say I'll throw them in the bushes first. I wanted to open today's show with something a little different. Being that it's about Christmas and the holidays, and of course it's one of the most magical times of the year. And I thought it actually would be pretty awesome if we all picked one moment in our lifetime that you remember being like that moment. And, obviously it could be anything, a console, a game, a favorite board game, a toy, a doll, anything. And I also want the chat to get involved because obviously they power this show, and we wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for the chat. And I just kind of want to get your best and most incredible gift that you've ever gotten underneath your Christmas tree or whatever, whatever you celebrate. And I kind of want to go first because, growing up, what led me, a lot of people don't know this. I'm going to be really as transparent as glass here, folks. So get ready. What led me to want to become a police officer, to serve the people, to protect the innocent, take down the bad guys, was G.I. Joe. And in 1982, I was 12 years old when the first G.I. Joe came out, and I had gotten it for my birthday. I had gotten the Vamp, which was the Jeep, and I had gotten Bazooka and Stalker because someone had stolen the driver. So at the time, Playworld, and they stole the driver of all things, which is clutch, by the way. So Playworld was like, okay, take a figure instead of the missing clutch because they only had one left. So I wound up getting Stalker as the packing vehicle when he was actually a figure. But Christmas 1984, that was a year for me that completely blew my mind when it came to G.I. Joe. And there was one vehicle. I'm going to bring it up on the screen right now. This was the present of all presents. Okay. And the story behind this is like this. My dad was a blue collar guy, not a lot of money. We grew up kind of poor, but he always found a way to make our Christmases absolutely memorable. And this particular vehicle, why it's so important to me is because my dad used to go, and obviously if you live in New York, King, you can appreciate this. Pathmark was the big supermarket back in the days.
Oh, I know.
And
Wow.
and my dad would come to bring the car around. He'd do the shopping with my mom. My mom would go up with the wagon. There would always be something else that he would call me down to help with, and that's how we earned our allowance. We had to take out the garbage, do the wash, clean the dishes. What kids are supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he asked me to come downstairs and help him with the packages. And of course, it's food. It's great. It's time to eat. Let's help Dad. And in the trunk was this box that he forgot was there. So he opened up the trunk and then quickly closed it. And I glanced at it for a hot second. And he said, Did you see anything? And I'm like, Dad, what are you talking about? I said, I'm here to help with the groceries. He's like, okay. And in my mind, I was doing the biggest happy dance you could possibly imagine, because I was like, you best believe Christmas morning, I got the killer whale from G.I. Joe. And yeah, on top of that particular vehicle, there were two other vehicles that I got that year that just, my God, it was so great. I got the Cobra Rattler, which, if you don't remember, it was the plane that could hover.
Mm-hmm.
It had all the missiles and rockets on there. It was dope. And I got the Tomcat F-14 as well. And as great as it was getting those vehicles, what really made it magical for me is my dad would sit there with me, and you would think that maybe a guy that was a monster of a behemoth of a man. He was built from top to bottom, because he worked construction, that he wouldn't have the patience or the hand movement to put these intricate stickers. And he would sit there and he would do the first one and he'd hand it off to me and say, okay, go play. And it would be like building a model. And he did that as a kid. So he would put it together, put all the stickers, sit the figure in. It was completely magical. And that's my quick story. Of course, I want to go to King David. King David, obviously I want to talk to you, because this could, obviously you have children of your own.
Yes.
And if you want to talk about a story with seeing the magic in their eyes when you buy something, that's fine too. But being that we bonded seriously over E3, got a chance to live together for almost over a week.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. What would be your story to tell about your most magical Christmas moment?
Wow. When you put it in the chat, I thought my brain raced, and I was trying to come up with one magical moment. I come up from a single family household. My mother was the backbone of the house. She was the father and the mother. We grew up on welfare, very meager means. So one Christmas was coming and we had a tree, but there was no presents there. None.
Wow.
But she had worked that whole week. I think she put in overtime, and she worked to the bone. And she knew this one Chinese store that I would go to get my toys. And we went down there, and she woke me up Christmas morning. I'm getting ahead of myself. She woke me up Christmas morning. And she was like, get dressed. And I said, okay. I knew it wasn't, any presents under the tree. And she said, I thought we was going to go get breakfast or something, And I didn't make her feel bad that there was nothing there. We go go down 3rd Avenue as we were walking. I don't know. I'm thinking we're going to go get something to eat. We get down to the store, which was open. The Chinese store, right around the corner. I'll never forget it. And we get inside, and she said, get whatever you want.
Wow.
Whatever you want. And I cried so much because there was Rom the Space Knight.
Oh my God, dude, that is awesome. Rom, oh my God, that brings back memories.
And I mean, I got a bunch of the Mego toys, superheroes. Always
Amigos, yes.
Amigos, yeah. Always, but he had one ROM, The Space Knight, and I was reading that comic book, and I was so entrenched with it, and I got it. I don't think I put that toy down for weeks on end. You know, she went and got the square battery, the 9-volt battery.
God,
to
the
put in
9-volt,
backpack.
you're right.
Yeah, and that's my utter memory, because you know, it would just went from the moments of despair, but not. I was just happy that that we were there, together, because it was at that point in time it was just me and her, before my sister came along. But that's Rom the Space Knight. That's
Man, that is a dude. First of all, I know I heard it, and I was choking up myself, because when you bring up these memories, you think of your parents, and you think how hard the struggle was real for a lot of people. Like, it's different. When you see us live on the air, you think, well, these guys are loaded, right? It's not the case, and and that's why I appreciate you bringing up this story, because people don't understand, how more often than not that people come from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you build yourself up until until where we are today. Dude, thank you so much for sharing that. That's big. So Shady, I want to go to you next, brother. Like, obviously, the holidays are magical and for many, but as a kid, it's epic. What comes to mind when you think about your most epic gift that you've ever gotten?
Man, like I say, there's a lot, to be honest. I was blessed by having just a beyond spoiled childhood. My dad was doing computer networking like back in the 80s, man. So he was one of
big back then. Yeah,
he was one of a very, very few people that was doing it. He traveled a lot and he was paid very well for it. So when Santa Claus, quote unquote, came knocking every Christmas, it was good to me. So there was a couple like runner-ups, man. It's got to be the original Optimus Prime, or Ultra Magnus was another one as well. And those just blew my mind. The original Millennium Falcon from Kenner was a huge standout for me. But toy-wise, I think the king goes to the G.I. Joe Cobra base, the Terror Drome, which was in the animated movie. That thing was like as big as I was when I was a kid.
It was.
I could barely pick it up. It was such a monstrously huge toy. You could put like 50 Joes on there. I was lucky enough to have like enough to just load the sucker up. I loved that. But I mean, the king and the number one king for all of my Christmases had to be the original NES. And my parents were on vacation actually for a month, which was the longest they'd ever been away from my sister and I when we were kids. And it was leading right up till Christmas. They got home actually like a week before Christmas. So we were staying with friends. And the night before my parents got back, they took us to Bullwinkle's, which is very much like Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if that Bullwinkle's is in the States, but, it had like an arcade and pizza and all that kind of stuff. So my sister and I were playing this game, Bubble Bobble, in the arcade.
Oh, wow.
We absolutely fell in love with it. We were like, this is the greatest game of all time. And then when our parents came home the next day, we were telling them how we went to Bullwinkle's and we were playing this wicked game, Bubble Bobble, and it was so good and everything. And then the week after, which was Christmas, they picked up an NES and we got the NES and Bubble Bobble. And our young minds couldn't comprehend how the stars could have lined up so perfectly that not only did we get a Nintendo system and a couple of games, but one of them was Bubble Bobble, which we were just playing in the arcades. Like, we couldn't believe it. And of course, as an adult and talking to my parents, they're like, yeah, we went and got it after you told us how good it was, that kind of thing. And so that was it. Like, we were just beside ourselves with this. We had a Coleco before and we absolutely loved that. But the Nintendo set a new standard for graphics and everything. Like, so that was it. And it was incredible. I beat Mario in 2 days. And again, after growing up and talking with my parents, I'd realized that my dad actually, he bought the Nintendo for him and he'd had it for over 6 months and he played it when I was in bed.
I love it.
And like, he beat Mario and he beat Zelda and he beat a bunch of other games. And then he just had everything back in the box and stuff to get, quote unquote, give to me for Christmas, which blew my mind, no doubt. But it was truly a gift for him that he'd had for half a year in secret. And he'd already beaten all the games, so he could help me when I got stuck. Awesome. He already knew what to do. So that takes the crown for me, man. It's got to be the NES original.
That's a great story, dude. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Really, definitely super appreciate that. Ainsley, I want to go to you next, dude. Obviously, this is the time of year. Listen, I don't care how old you are, man. I look forward I look forward more now as being almost 50 years old for giving. I've always been more of a giver than a taker, for sure. And that's why it really excites me for today's show that I'm going to be able to, and if you're wondering where the $300 of funds come from, I have been politely putting away the super chats.
Nice.
Because obviously I wanted to turn what people donate into something that could be given. Now, of course, will I buy myself a game? Sure, of course. Will I buy something for the house? Absolutely. But I've been putting the money away almost the entire year, getting ready for this show. And I honestly wish it could be more. I wish I could give $1,000 away. But I wanted, Joe said and myself wanted to power forward and do that. And Ainsley, when you think about the holidays, of course, you think about giving. And of course, listen, when you're a kid, you're a kid. You want to receive. You want the best gift. What was your best gift that you've ever received?
Wow. Yeah, so you guys are bringing back the memories, man. G.I. Joe and God, old NES. I mean, I was born in the 70s, and so I grew up in that era. Transformers were my favorite. And I'm a diehard Optimus Prime guy. Like, I'll go. He's not even real, and I go to bat for him right now. So I got two I'll share, and it's kind of funny you guys talking about the difference between people who grew up kind of not wealthy, you know what I mean, but well off, and people who struggled. And so my parents split when I was 5, and my dad had money, and he left my mom and left her nothing, and my mom had no money. And so I got two references that I always think of. So when I was 5, that's probably what I consider my greatest Christmas ever. So boom, similar to you, my dad went overboard with Christmas, right? Like, I mean, he would just go nuts. And because he had money, it was kind of ridiculous. We had like the 12-foot tree and just, you know what I mean? He'd go crazy. And so on my 5th birthday, I got a wealth of presents, including my favorite at the time, which was Omega Supreme, the big transformer.
Oh, man, he was huge, dude.
Yeah, he could roll around on the track, and I just sat there in the living room, like him rolling around. I could still picture it, it's 35 years ago. So I loved that. And then, I was already like over the moon, and my brother was a teenager. I was the young one. And my dad goes, "Come on, guys, let's go outside." And it was snowing that Christmas. It was back in Delaware. I lived outside of Philadelphia most of my life growing up. And it was snowing, and we walked outside, and he had a guy pull up and deliver on Christmas morning 2 ATCs, 3-wheeler, motorcycles, which are illegal now. Now they're ATVs, but back then they were ATCs. And he bought me and my brother ATCs on Christmas morning and told us to just go ride. And my dad had like acres of land. So Christmas morning, snowing, I'm out there in pajamas on a brand new Honda ATC, like flying around our property at the time. So I think that's probably my most memorable Christmas. But then that was right before my parents split. And so the one that jumps out to me, which is kind of funny at the same time, too, is a couple years later in '89 when the Sega Genesis released. My mom was a hairdresser. Like I said, she didn't have much. We lived in an apartment. I didn't even have my own bedroom. I slept on the floor. And so I didn't really have much at all. I didn't have my own game system. I didn't have much of anything. And, but as a kid, I didn't think about it. I didn't think anything different. Right. But one Christmas, she was a hairdresser, and she would actually barter with a woman who worked at KB Toys. And she would cut her hair for free, and the woman at KB Toys would give her video games.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Nice deal.
Yes.
And so one Christmas, she got me, after it launched, the Genesis with Ghouls and Ghosts and the Altered Beast. But going back to the funny part about it, which, by the way, was like, that was the best Christmas ever. I got a bike and a Genesis, dude. I was like 9 or whatever it was. I was over the moon. But the funny part about it is, going back, I forget who said it now, but I found the Genesis in the closet when I was doing some of my young kids snooping before Christmas. And I found it about, I don't know, it must have been November. It was several weeks before Christmas. And my mom was a hairdresser, worked all day, like I said. And me and my friends actually opened the Genesis, hooked it up. We had beaten Altered Beast and Ghouls and Ghosts before Christmas even got there. And still to this day, I would just pack it back up, every time we would do that. Still to this day, I have not told her that I
Oh
did
my goodness, that's
Well,
great.
you just told him
Oh,
that.
wow, that's awesome.
So she I'm actually picking her up from the airport. She comes out to visit me every Christmas, and I'm picking her up from the airport this afternoon. And I keep every year I'm like, is this the year I'm going to tell her? And I still haven't told her.
Man, that's funny. That's a great story, dude. Thank you so much for sharing. Really, it's certainly definitely appreciate that. BitCloud, I want to go to you next, my friend. What was your favorite Christmas memory that you could recall? So, a toy, a game, a book, whatever.
Oh, this is easy. This is definitely easy. I'm surprised I still remember it as plain as day. It felt like it happened yesterday, but that's what happens with time. It passes, and you'd be shocked. But like King David here, I grew up with just my mother. My father passed away when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
My mother worked for the post office, and she still does. She's been there for over 25 years. It was Christmas 2005. Now, I don't know if y'all remember those bangers that came out during that. It was Spider-Man. I think it was the Ultimate Edition, something like that. There was a few other good games that dropped at the time. I remember on my list when I asked her, because basically in Philadelphia, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm not from Georgia. So in Philadelphia, we were from the bad part. It was just me, my sister, her two kids at the time. Actually, no. Let me take that back. It was three, because I had my three nieces. And mostly what I would do after school, I would spend my time home, looking after my nieces, where my sister would work or do whatever, and my mom would also work as well. But that particular Christmas, after I asked for certain things, after doing okay, I didn't really do insanely good like that in school. I just passed, I did what I needed to do to get past. But my mother shocked me like crazy, and my cousin came to visit me from North Carolina. And underneath that very Christmas tree, there was one particular gift. Now, I didn't know this was going to be here. I asked for Liberty City Stories, right?
Oh wow!
And it was one of my favorite games. I was really into GTA. I asked for Liberty City Stories. I didn't think when I came downstairs, because my cousin, he wanted a PSP. I didn't expect to have like 6 games for PS2. And I look over to the left. She's like, "Hey Ryan, that's yours too." I was like, "What's this?" It literally said, "With love from mom." I opened this package up, and it literally was a PSP with Liberty City Stories on the go.
Oh, wow, dude.
Now, one thing I get a lot of, and a lot of people ask me, how can you be so determined to on YouTube? I get that from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about just being what you want. It's about having that simple passion for what you want, but also it's about trying to be better. And I get that from her. And she reminds me every day that anything's possible when you put your heart into something. And I get that from her.
Well, dude, that's an amazing story. That's strong, and I love hearing it because like I said, you never know. You see someone post something on Twitter, and you know nothing about them because it's just words. And when you get a chance to open up like this and be personal, it's something really. I hear somebody's got an echo.
I hear it too.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
What was it?
I don't know. Well, anyway, let me just continue anyway. But listen, dude, that's a strong story, and I definitely appreciate you sharing for sure. And of course, finally, Primal Eve. I'm wondering what was your favorite toy that you found underneath the tree growing up?
Well, growing up, my mom was kind of like the Grinch whose heart never warmed. And then my dad was always working all the time. And I know last year, during the Christmas episode, I talked about like the best gift ever was when he got me a PlayStation 2 with Final Fantasy 7, because my siblings were older. They had taken all the systems and stuff, and I was left with nothing. And then I thought about like, what's the most magical moment for me overall? And it wasn't getting like the Talk Boy and stuff, but back in the day or anything like that. It's actually happening right now. This year has been one of the hardest years for me. I had surgery. I missed out a month of work. I was home. I don't have any friends or family. So my daughter took care of me throughout the whole entire time. And she is like the coolest kid ever. And I was worried because I wasn't going to be able to provide a Christmas for her because of just all the stuff financially and physically. And recently, I found out that I will be able to give her Christmas, and that's what I'm going to be doing today after the show.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm doing my best.
No. Listen,
Right,
you're getting
no,
emotional
like-
on this. Listen, this is. You don't have to be this personal, and you're sharing something really, really deep with us. And
Mhm.
I honestly couldn't be more honored to have you a part of this.
Right. But yep, it's happening. The magic is happening now. Well,
Wow.
not now, but I'm definitely like I'm gonna be so happy because she thinks I had talked to her about it that like, hey, you know what, we may not be able to celebrate Christmas this year. And what she said to me is she doesn't matter about the gifts as long as she's with me. And
Wow.
yeah, so she's so cool.
Oh,
So I'm really looking forward to Christmas because she has no idea. Absolutely none.
Well, listen, first of all, Eve, I got to tell you, I think that you're amazing in every way
you.
possible. I do. I think I really want to having you a part of this was super special for me simply because you were part of the first one. And of course, I will be asking you to come back next year and hearing hearing this story, you sharing this with us is humbling. It's unbelievable. And you know, I mean, like as a host, I'm trying not to get emotional myself, but you know, thank you so much for sharing. That's pretty deep. I really appreciate it. And I also have to thank Pixel Bit G, who drops a ridiculous and unbelievable $50 super chat. He says, growing up poor, I recall begging Ma for the Commodore 64. Wow. In a single parent home with 5 kids, that was a big ask. She managed to get one. I never asked again for gifts, and that gift made me the dev I am today. Happy holidays.
Wow.
Spread love, and thank you for sharing. Well, thank you so much for that. You know what? I might have missed another one. Yes, I did, actually. I have to thank Infinite AA for the outstanding $5 super chat. And this is another great story. He says, last Christmas was an epic Christmas for me. My wife bought me a Switch. My brother bought me a $1,000 computer, a PC. I was floored. So thankful. Well, thank you for sharing. And like I said, I knew this was going to be emotional for everyone. And I want to apologize for bringing out your tears live on the air. But I just think that no one does this. You know what? We talk about plastic wars. We talk about, you know, my tweet is better than your tweet. And at the end of the day, we should look at the people, you know, that are here. And that the people that are behind these tweets, you know, we are all human beings. And yes, there are a-holes out there who try to ruin it for everyone. But I think there's certainly more good than bad out there. And I just want to, first of all, thank my entire panel for sharing. I have to thank the near 150 people in the chat for being here. And we're going to bring this back around to what everyone hopefully tuned in for. And that, of course, is talking about the hobby that we love so much. And I have to bring up a story. And I'm going to go to King. Once I'm done with reading my spiel, I have to go to King because he has a lot to say about this. Okay. Now, in a story that I pulled from the pages of WCCF Tech, they're reporting that this spring, before E3 2020, Microsoft is going to be doing a huge reveal for, of course, the Xbox Series X, as well as, of course, its little brother, known as the Xbox Series S, is what we're all talking about. But that's not all. In this report, apparently, that's going to be there in a big way, probably showing off the power of both of these systems, is going to be the game from George R.R. Martin and From Software called Elden Ring. And it's rumored to be there in a huge way. Now, according to, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce it, Special Ed, he spells it SHPSHAL Ed, stated during a recent Xbox Era podcast, the full Xbox Series X reveal is happening in either April or May, right before E3 2020. And this makes perfect sense simply because this is where they will reveal, like we just talked about, the Xbox Series S, aka Xbox Lockhart. And this will be the first time that you see both consoles there, proving that I was right all of these months when I said that they were going to go with a two-pronged attack. And that's right, folks. I'm staking my claim in this because I've been banging this drum for quite some time. Now, additionally, if rumors do pan out, it seems like From Software's Elden Ring is going to be showing up at the event, but more so, they're going to be revealing a partnership with Microsoft for the marketing rights on one of the most anticipated titles from story, developer, and writer. Now, while Special Ed from the Xbox era isn't a quote-unquote industry insiders, he does have some industry contacts. So, like anything that we talk about live on the air, until it's coming from Microsoft, you gotta take this with a grain of salt. Now, King, this is where I come to you. Okay. Now you said it. You said it on ILP last week. There's a different kind of swagger to this new look / new attitude Phil Spencer and Microsoft that they currently have. And to be honest, I think it's because they know deep down that they have the best box. Another aspect to this change of ideology started in early 2019 with their marketing deals for the game's biggest titles. This is something, again, that I didn't try to turn this into a negative against Microsoft, but when they do something wrong, I will be the first one to say, yeah, I kind of want better on this aspect. And just looking at the games that they have marketed as, this year alone, here's the list. You have Anthem, Devil May Cry 5, Metro Exodus, The Division 2, Jump Force, Mortal Kombat 11, Rage 2, and of course, the Game of the Year winner, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. And talk about talk about change of ideology. Now, King, this has to be the most aggressive we have ever seen Microsoft. And losing this generation as badly as they did have made them hungry. The unannounced reveal is happening, and I'm expecting even bigger first, second, and third-party games to be shown off at this showcasing event with the power of the two behemoths. Why is this happening?
Everybody tells me that Phil has this different swagger. Excuse me, Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer, sir. And he doesn't have a different swagger. He has the same swagger that I've always seen. He has the same grit and determination that I've always seen. I was telling someone, today, because, we was talking behind the scenes, and he actually has the chance to, talk with him and, stuff like that. And they're supposed to be going on some trip or something. And I said, I feel vindicated. He said, I know. Even the staunchest supporters wasn't really backing him as sternly as you was backing him. And I said, the reason why is I knew all the hurdles that he had to jump through to get to this. It's not even a finish line yet, to get to this point. In the beginning, he had got a child. You could say the Xbox One is his stepchild. He's in this relationship with this stepchild, and he wants this stepchild to do better. Because it's bringing home poor grades. The games aren't, living up to expectations, and people are talking down on his kid. He has pride in this kid, and he wants this relationship to work. So he works hard with this kid, and he gets the kid grades up to an X. So they launched the X, and they got the Slim, and they have the Blu-ray in the box. He has the same swagger, and he's turning it around. And he said, you know what? If this kid had some tutors, he will be really good. So he goes out and he buys developers, studios upon studios upon studios upon studios, and he invests inside Game Pass, and he invests in other things, and he realizes that this may not be his kid, but he's giving it his all.
You mean this Phil Spencer right here? That Phil Spencer?
Yes. So
that's my Phil Spencer right there.
That box that's on his shoulder, that's his baby.
That's right.
Being born. So as you saw him on stage, it was like a proud pop. Now, When you're a proud pop, you're gonna bloviate on what you expect, and my child, and this, that, and he's the fastest, and he's the strongest, and he's the most powerful. He didn't backstep on any of those words. When another company made a misstep and they said something, you're not the fastest. But his swagger is the same swagger he's always had. Nothing's changed. He's just working from a position of power. This is his space now. So when he's standing on that stage and he's presenting this in front of the crowd, he knows what was working in the backgrounds. He understands what he wanted to bring. He wants that same pride that he has in Microsoft. He wants you to have that pride. If you support the platform, and if you don't support the platform, he wants to know why, so he can make sure that you support the platform. So that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing him walk around with a swagger that's the same swagger, but you're just watching that step now because you're having a more prideful, because you can actually see it now.
Yeah.
It's a different viewpoint. It's not the same old viewpoint. It's not the same old on Microsoft with these games that aren't hitting the Metacritic well. Or Microsoft, oh, there they go again, shooting itself in the foot. They're not leaking anything. That, like you said, that show that's going to be, these are all strategic moves from them to let you know this is going to happen in this time frame. So if you thought that this was just a little bit of it, no, we're going to take a deep dive into that box. We're going to present it. He's dictating pace now. So the level of pace he's dictating is to show people, if these other dudes wants to play, if another company wants to play, they're going to have to play at my tune. And that's the tune he's doing now.
Well, listen, I always love how you eloquently talk about Phil Spencer, or Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer, as he's known as to the ILP. And you broke it down in a way that made complete sense. Hearing it out loud, King, makes you understand that we're not looking at this from a fanboy's perspective. We're looking at this from an excited gamer's perspective. And that's the difference. We're all gamers here. I mean, you obviously, like myself, support multiple consoles. In fact, we support all consoles.
Yes.
And it's something we enjoy doing. But when we lay our head down, it is an Xbox pillow. There's nothing wrong with that.
This is true.
But I thank you for that strong answer, because that's what we wanted to hear. But I have to go to Ainsley next on this. Okay. And the reason why I want to go to Ainsley, because Ainsley, you've been very vocal on Twitter. You obviously have seasonedgaming.com, which is an outstanding site that if you're not following them, shame on you, and give these guys a sub. Okay. You put out a tweet. And before I get to exactly your tweet, seeing it really says something important, but more so saying out loud, I think is going to be even better. And one of the running narratives and negative narratives from, of course, the toxic part of the community. I'm not going to even say that they're just the toxic Sony people. I'm just going to say they're just the gum on your boot of the internet. Okay, had some real negative things to say about confusion. Oh my God, what do you mean there's going to be multiple boxes? I'm so confused, and so will Johnny's little grandmother, who goes to buy him an X and says she's going to buy the wrong one. I know it. So I just want to read your tweet, okay, and just give the people an idea, and then get your answer. And you tweeted, in the Nintendo DS lifespan, this is what they put out there: the DS, the DS Lite, the DSi, the DSi XL, the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 2DS, the new 3DS, the new 2DS XL. Folks, if there's anyone that knows how to confuse you and still make you spend your money, it's Nintendo, which they've been doing for years. Ainsley, what is your answer to this running negative narrative that Microsoft is somehow trying to pull the wool over the consumer's eyes?
Doesn't really need an answer, because it's not a real question. It's just a ridiculous narrative. I think what it is, it's kind of like King said, is so far, right? This is a completely different narrative than we saw at the start of last generation. Last generation, Microsoft was late to the announcement, and they were immediately on their heels. They're completely ahead of the game this time. They're confident. They're the first to introduce. The Game Awards surprised everyone. It was a far better reveal in terms of market analytics than I think people realize, and just how many people were watching that show, and to get it early in the show while viewership was still high. And so, you know, the problem is these I don't know what word I want to use. People who have nothing better to do, they've got nothing to point to. I mean, they're literally scraping the bottom of the barrel and saying, oh, you know, the problem's the name. And it's like, there's no problem with the name. The name is fine. It's mature. It's in line with the technology segment of the industry, as is the design of the console. And I think the problem is, and King kind of touched on it. Go figure. King and I usually kind of in line with our thoughts here. Is that you know, a lot of these people that just get on Twitter and ramble about nonsense, and it comes off really negative. I'm not trying to say I'm better or anything of that nature, but they just don't understand the industry or technology companies in general. And if you really kind of study what's going on at a higher technological level, that's where Xbox is focusing here, and they're nailing it. Everything from the design to the announcement to setting up the name, to how they're revealing to what's coming at CES in a few weeks, their partnership with AMD. These are all, as King said, it's a chess match. And Phil is standing on top of the board right now. He's been empowered by Microsoft with the funding that any leader in that position wants, right? The power and the funding. And he has the power at this point. And again, that's not to say anything negative about what's coming from Sony with the PlayStation 5. What Nintendo's doing, that's not relevant in this conversation. Speaking specifically of Microsoft, they're in the right place right now, and it's taken a while to get there. Things of a company of Microsoft's size do not change overnight. King touched on it. You came in, 4.5 years ago, Phil, now.
Yeah.
Trying to steer that ship is a long, long process. And people do not understand how long it takes to get things done at a major Fortune 200 company. It takes a long time. And so, they had to get the hardware right with the Xbox One S and X. They did that. He had to get the services corrected. Game Pass is crushing it. I think nobody can deny that. They had to get the studios in place, and it's all starting to come together. And the Series X, as King pointed out, is the first true net console out of this team. And you're going to see how long they've been planning this and how much they have behind it, because it's going to be an amazing, amazing console. And I think people are going to be really surprised at what comes in 2020, because the show's only just starting.
That's a great point. I mean, obviously, they had said something during XO19 where they publicly said that at every event that we're going to attend, any big event, big show, we're going to be bringing you something new, right? And people were like, yeah, that's rubbish. Ain't going to show shit. That's Microsoft. They ain't going to show us nothing. They're going to play. Their cards are too close to the vest. I can't see what Phil is holding. Well, they did that. They did that in such a way that they stopped the Game Awards 10 minutes after it started, and nothing else mattered afterwards. Not one damn thing. And that's what you call a showstopper. Now, Shady, I want to go to you, because obviously the size, differential with this new box has been the topic of many ridiculous threads. Even IGN, who is, of course, the ignorant gaming network known for hiring the biggest boobs this side of Texas, went out of their way to make a mock-up, paint a cardboard box black.
Did you see that?
I did.
Oh, my God.
Okay, and this was Dustin Legary once again being the boob that I know him to be. Okay? And I don't care. You know what? Listen, if this gets back to him, he could block me. He can give me the big finger. It's perfectly fine.
Oh,
I don't care. But I'm going to call a spade a spade. And when I see a boob, I'm going to call you a boob. And if you don't like it, well, guess what? Don't be a boob. Okay? So getting back to this ridiculous mock-up that looked like it was made in probably his basement. It would, the sizes roll off. Now, someone that's been on a show, one of my shows earlier, we know him as Brad Sams. He is no, he's not a boob. That guy is a professional, and he actually put out a video where, of course, they confirmed the size, where it was 12 by 6 by 6. And sure, the box is bigger, absolutely. But as we get more powerful, well, things got to grow. That's just the way it is. So, Shady, what is your thoughts on this another running negative narrative to try and downplay how impressive this box is going to be when it releases next year?
It's par for the course when it comes to the ignorant network there. I mean, that's just what they do, going through their feed for the last little bit. I mean, they've got the box sitting in a mountain of money going, how much is this thing going to cost? And there's just money everywhere. So just so you have that idea in your head, like, oh my God, how much? It could be insane. It could be $800. And, you know, you scroll down for seconds and it's just like the greatest games to hit the PlayStation in the last year. Like that's the one narrative versus the other. It's like, I mean, it is what it is. They prefer one brand versus the other. It could just come down to marketing money. It doesn't matter. The bias is real, in my opinion, when I go to that site and many others. And the shoebox painted black, my God. I mean, they didn't even try. In the thumbnail, which was like the size of the new Series X compared to the PlayStation 4 Pro. They didn't even have a Pro in the thumbnail. They had an original X compared to the new Series X. And the top of the Series X, it wasn't even a straight line.
It was crooked. It was crooked.
The box isn't even a straight box. It's just like, oh my God. It was embarrassing to say the least. This thing isn't that big. Like the picture you have up right now, it's obviously as wide and deep as a controller is wide. That's not huge, big deal, and it's as tall.
Here's a better picture, so you guys, so everyone in the chat, the 206 people watching, thank you so much for that. Here is something I pulled from the internet. Here is the size ratio for all 6 consoles. There you go, folks.
Is that
worth 1,000 words?
Because even that one looks a little bit too big. It looks a little too wide. But I mean, it could be. It doesn't look huge to me. I think a lot of people are seeing that picture there.
I've seen the bulkiness of it. That's all. It's the same size.
It's Phil Schwartz and Spencer there with the slauncher on his shoulder. I think people are seeing that and they're just like, this thing's the size of a goddamn rocket launcher. And I mean, no, it's got the power of one. But no, I think it looks good and it's the proper size. And it's again just a weird, ridiculous take trying to make something out of nothing, like along with that confusion thing. I mean, I don't know, that could be legit. I had some friends over the other day asked if they wanted some pop or soda, as some people call it. And they're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, cool, man. I got Coke, I got Pepsi, I got some Diet. And they're like, oh, I'll just take water. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you want cap? Do you want bottle? I mean, they just went without. They just, fuck it. I'm just gonna not have anything. I'll just
I'll just have a dry throat. Forget it.
You know, forget what I was asking. My God, I can only go with one option. I think that's also just absolutely insane. How hard is it to tell your grandma, your granny, whoever it may be, I want the Xbox Series X, not the Xbox One X, grandma, the Series X. Okay. I mean, geez, let's go here. Everything on the planet minus air has options. Even air, I can go and buy canned air, Spaceballs style, sniff it up. Baby, it's so fresh and so clean. But I mean, everything has options. We get along just fine as the human race. So I don't think any of these concerns warrant anything. I mean, even just talking about them like we are on the show, obviously we're poking fun, which it deserves to be. But even that is almost giving this garbage too much credit. This machine is going to bring massive power. So is the PlayStation 5. Let's not pretend that that's not going to bring the heat either. Next gen's coming, man, and it is going to be insane. Insane. That Hellblade trailer was just a tease. I understand that it wasn't gameplay, but in-engine, even today, in this generation, is very reminiscent of what these games turn into and look like. So, I mean, my eyes were melted out of the sockets when I saw that thing. It was incredible. I'm so excited. more, buttery smooth frame rates are coming across the board, higher resolutions on most, if not every single game for both. And I'm like, hey, let's do this. We got to bring our controllers with us. We got to bring all our games with us. We haven't had a refresh of generations like this one ever. And I am so excited. Xbox came out first. They're getting the people hyped. And I'm not going to let any trolls or anybody tear it down. For me personally, it's just not happening. I'm on cloud nine over here. I can't wait. This next year can't go fast enough. The last one went by insane. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I can't believe it's been a year since this last Christmas episode. But let's go into fast forward mode, man. I need next gen and I need it now.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to go next Primal Eve, but before I get your opinion on this, Thanaros with the $5 super chat. He says, like any fandom, we tend to underestimate those who are not part of the fandom. As a marketer, I can tell you the average consumer does research products. Yes, that's a great point. Thank you so much for telling us about that, because that is the truth. They are a lot smarter. Let me tell you something. When my nephew Tyler, who I love like my son and would give up my own life for him, wants something, he will go to Amazon and he will show me a picture of it, or he will take a picture of it and say, Theo, this is what I want. And I say, I understand. I knew what you wanted before. You did, because even though I'm 50 or near 50, I'm a child just like you. But Eve, what are your thoughts on the reveal? Like, how impressed were you that, first of all, it didn't leak, but more importantly, they showed this monster off?
Right. Well, when I saw it, it was like, I was like a little kid. My eyes got all wide. I'm like, what is this? And like, I want it. I probably can't afford it, but I want it. And then, no, I just like, kind of going back to what King David was saying. It's all about how Phil presents it. He's got that little cocky ass smile. And sorry, I'm going to try and be good, Boom. I swear.
That's okay.
And he just whipped it out and showed us, and he liked it. And I told you, I said I'd be good. I am.
He's now known in the industry as Kickstand.
Yeah, but
wow.
Because it's not just him. Like he is excited, but it's all that confidence, and that makes me be confident of the future that he's bringing us into. And it's also not the size that matters. It's the pleasure I get from it. I don't care if it's big. I don't care if it's small. As long as it has the games, I'm going to enjoy it. I really don't care about the name of it, the color of it, the size of it. If it's a PlayStation, if it's an Xbox, I don't care. I'm strictly about the games. But I am super excited for this. And it was definitely a surprise, because we all knew something was coming, but we didn't know it was coming right now. Right. So it's definitely it's a brilliant move on Microsoft's part.
Yeah, they shocked the industry. They shocked the industry in a way that a lot of us have been asking them to do. I know King David, even though he has patience of a saint when it comes to this stuff, there are some people on the ILP that were like, listen, King, we love you, but we want more, and we want it now. And he sat back and he said, I know what's coming. I'm just going to chill with my drink in my hand in the corner and just watch it all unfold. And that's exactly what's been happening. And of course, rounding out this amazing topic is BitCloud. But BitCloud, before I get to you, I have to thank Scrub Nurse for the outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. He says, love this show. Here's to another great year. Merry Christmas to all. Can't wait for the next gen and the sex box. All hail Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the sex box reference that we talked about during the ILP live stream that was said about 50 times. BitCloud, I want to get your opinion on this, because obviously I think that the community, I think the gaming world, I think the gaming journalists that cover this for a living and a profession, we're all still reeling from this completely out of nowhere reveal by Microsoft. Are you expecting this to be the beast that we all think it's going to be?
Well, one thing about the media you got to take into account, there are those who are, legit professional.
Yes.
And then there are nuts. Now, there was I don't know. I don't know. I'm surprised this is not in the notes. I don't know if you heard about it, but on Twitter, I forgot his name. It's Ahmed. I think that's his name, Ahmed. He put out a tweet saying that he believes that the PS5 is going to look very similar to Xbox Series X.
I
It's gonna
saw
look like
that.
a
It's
refrigerator.
ridiculous.
Now,
Yes.
here's the thing: there's something called Business Bureau or Business Insider, something like that. Some published or some journalists talked about it and said that the PS5 is more definitely going to look like a refrigerator. And what's his name had to come out and correct himself. He's like, dog, it was a joke. So that goes to
They
show
actually
that a
ran
lot
with
of
the
these
story. They ran with this ridiculous. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, or something. And one of these again, that just goes to show that a lot of these dudes don't know what they're talking about, and they tend to just talk out their ass pretty much for the clouts. So that's just how it is. But to go back to what you guys said at the start, that it was like a strategic move. It was. I mean, who was in the front row when it came to the Game Awards? Mark Cerny. And I don't know if y'all noticed. I watched the show back again. I'm surprised. I'm surprised King didn't take note of this, but as soon as that reveal was done, and you see Godfall get shown on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mark certainly pulled out his notepad. Immediately pulled out his notepad. And I was okay. Now, usually when you see him pull out his notepad, that's something interesting. He's taking notes for, either upcoming shows or he's probably going to schedule to get something done. So we know for a fact right out the bat, they already built excitement just off of the box alone. They showed you the new design. They showed you the new controller. We just don't know the specifications. But I tell people this all the time. Both systems are going to be pretty much neck and neck. There is going to be a slight power advantage for one. So Microsoft has that power advantage. It'll always come down to the first party games. And yeah, we're excited. It's definitely going to be lit going into next year and to see what else we're going to get going forward. But you already see a benchmark for Microsoft Studios with Hellblade. Now we're going to see what Sony is looking like. And that's going to be the deciding factor.
I think we saw the benchmark. Everybody keeps like walking past Godfall like it was crap. Like,
well, here's the thing. Yeah, I know, but here's the thing though. This is a first party title, and this is why I kind of do get what a lot of them are coming up with. See, first party titles tend to usually use every ounce of the resources that they're accountable. Yes. Then they tend to use more techniques to push those visually in impactful games. So what you saw with Hellblade is from their top tier, studio, their new top tier studios. And we already knew this. Come on, let's be real. Everybody on this panel knows that Ninja Theory was always a good choice for them. We said that as soon as they picked them up. Ninja Theory is a great choice. It's a good company, and they did wonders with Hellblade, the first one, and they only had a team that was so big. They didn't have a big team. When you look at Sony, again, Sony has numerous teams of magnitude and have already built the track record. Spider-Man alone has people buzzing, and you already know what to expect from Spider-Man. I don't even bring that up, do I? No, you know what to expect from Spider-Man. So again, it's going to come down to those first party. And I keep telling people, I get y'all excited for hardware. It's always exciting to talk about the hardware. Trust me, I've done it for a whole year. I've done the whole year this gen, talking about next gen. People got tired of it. I just tell you, man, I'm excited for next gens like you guys are, but I'm more excited for those games. I want to see what those specifications turn into, and that's the games. And that's where you're going to get the most out of those games. And you're going to get a massive. Oh, you're going to get a massive upgrade because loading times are going to be a thing of the past, pretty much. And that's already
what I see the most is right. And what people they keep sidestepping little things. We get the little nuggets and the secret sauce that's inside these boxes. Right. So, Mark Cerny, he's sitting there and those floating point calculations that he was explaining about the PlayStation Pro being able to, if it split its tasks, it would be able to do double the power. Right. And this is a fact.
I know you're talking about rapid tap math.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's actually a fact.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when he's doing these calculations, he's explaining it in a way that, it's not plausible for certain companies, but for certain companies to take advantage of this rapid unpacking math, it can work. And I saw 2 independent companies do it, and they had a game running at 60 frames per second and 4K on the PlayStation Pro, native. Right. So where you say that stuff is not possible for PlayStation Pro to do that, but in his theory, which was proven to be correct, it was actually able to do it. Microsoft also has certain technologies that when it boils down to onboard technology that's built in, not the software that's built in on board, I think that's where the power difference will show itself, because they're both shopping at the same store, getting the same products, but it's what they add into it is going to differentiate between the two and what's going to be shown. I saw Godfall, I saw the ray tracing, I saw high fidelity texture maps, I saw high polygon geometric counts, I saw the frame rate unwavering, unbuckling, I saw particle effects. I was super impressed with it. You know,
Yeah, I was impressed with how fast like it moved in motion. That was the thing that really did put me on a trip too. Again, we did see gameplay. I don't know if you saw the 7 seconds of gameplay of it. It was on Twitter. Again, it still looks good even there, and it's like we didn't even get a full, you know what I'm saying, scope like map type of like playthrough at the Game Awards. I'm guessing that's being saved for their actual legit show.
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna have an event.
Yeah. So that was a nice little snippet of gameplay. But to add on what you said too, I said this numerous times too, expect refinements. You know, a lot of refinements from this gen. So basically what they couldn't master this generation, which was 4K 60 on all games and all that junk, you're gonna more than likely get that easily on a silver platter with PS5 and of course with Xbox Series X. Now obviously Series X is going to be pushing a little bit more, you know, power if this is true, where they're going to have the power advantage. But again, like I said before, it's going to be pretty much neck and neck. It's not really known as of right now if Sony's going to drop another SKU. But I remember a while back we talked about this too, that there was a possibility for them to drop another SKU. Is it going to happen? I kind of doubt it, but again, it's all about the math. I keep telling people this. They're going to battle for market share. That's what they're battling for. It's market share. It's not just for our pockets and software. It's about the market share. Sony dominated. And Sony dominated the market this shit. They have that market share and already built that. I guess you can say what me and Dave will tell you, that consumer trust. They kind of already built it with the consumer. And Microsoft, as much as, again, I know we know the diehards are going to definitely buy it day one. That's no question. The diehards are not going to leave. They're invested, and that's cool. But it comes down to that. It comes back down to that trust and that commitment that will really show what the console. You know, how committed are you? Did you really learn your lesson? Are you really going to deliver those new AAA experiences that matter? You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get that Halo is a big thing. Halo Infinite is a big thing for the next series. We know this, but it's a big game. But I know there's a good demographic of people who would like to see something else from 343. You know, next you know what I'm saying? And it's not me being selfish or anything. It's a common fact. It's a common thing that you see. There's a thing called fatigue, gamer fatigue. I know damn well y'all go through this every single day. Whether you live stream, you can live stream something like Fortnite, or it can be something like Call of Duty. You get tired of the same thing eventually, and you want something new. And that's where I hope that commitment is. It's not just to make those games better, but to build around them and make even more better games. And that's what really needs to be happening.
Just to rebuttal your 343 statement, just to rebuttal it really quickly.
Of course,
they have 15 studios. You're going to sit there and make Halo while the other 15 studios make them other things. You focus yourself over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't like you don't want to say nothing else for 343.
I want them to focus and get it right. And
exactly.
Let the coalition work on the coalition stuff, and then let the initiative work on their stuff. You don't get aspirations of making a paint game. You focus on your Halo.
They're all quarantined in until the product comes out, right?
Yeah.
You would have the same attitude with Naughty Dog and The Last of Us. You would
yes,
want them
sir.
to make
Yes,
really? You just want to make Last of Us and Uncharted?
You know something? Listen, if I want a racing game, I'm going to get a racing game from a racing company. Okay. If I want this serious Nathan Drake new experience, I want Naughty Dog to be at the helm. Now, if you're doing a side project and you have a smaller dev company that's inside of the bigger parent company and they're working on a game, good. We might green light it if it looks nice. But what we're going to do is work on this moneymaker. You know, make sure that this moneymaker is, keep churning out. I didn't become a Naughty Dog fan because they side ping pong game. That was not the thing. You know, the thing is Nathan Drake and his story and his journey that keeps me enthused.
Right.
And that's what I'm looking for. You know, when people was upset with Gears of War being Gears of War, you idiot. What did you expect it to be?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Too much
I remember that.
even.
I do remember that.
So I have fun with Crackdown being Crackdown. I have fun with the games that I purchase because there's an essence to it that I'm gravitating to. I don't want Mario to be something other than who he is, you know? So when you say that, yeah, 343, they knew what they signed up for when they got it. But right now, I haven't seen 343 be the best 343 they can be.
Exactly.
And I think this is going to be their diamond in the rough. I think this is it.
Yeah. I agree.
For the record, I just wanted to say the only gamer fatigue that So Shady feels is in my hands after a shift-long gaming sesh. Maybe. That's it. I don't get tired of no games. When I love something, I love it, and I want it to go essentially for as long as I can on this world. So
I
yeah,
doubt
but
you
also
play Call of
depends
Duty for
on
5
what you're
months straight, so.
playing. Yeah, like for me in Gears, I've played Gears every single day of my life, and then one day I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm done, and then I'll stare at it, and then a week later I'm back on it again. But that 1 week, I was definitely fatigued. But it's just like, I don't know, it's like a really bad
Like a drug.
ex-boyfriend. Like they start looking good again after a little while. You go back, end up treating you bad, you leave them, and then you come back again.
Well, let me just say this. This has been a great opening topic for, of course, the gaming part of it. I want to move on to the next topic, but before I do, I have to announce the first 5 winners of the $25 gift card to your choice of places, whether it's be PSN, Xbox Live, or of course Nintendo eShop. iDizzy84, UK Dazarus, Talon 69X, Elemental PO, and Shizno Elite. Hit me up in the DM. Let me know what you want your gift cards to be, and I will. I have to go to GameStop to buy them because when you're buying them on a credit card, they keep stopping you to try to authorize, and it's a pain. So I'm going to go there and buy it, and then I'm of course going to send everyone their code. So congratulations to iDizzy84, UK Dazarus, Talon 69X, Elemental PO, and Shizno Elite. Congratulations and thank you for the outstanding support. And before we get on to the next topic, Shizno Elite actually dropped a $5 super chat. He says, can't chat, but enjoying the show. Thanks, Booming Crew. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And Smitty Smith, thank you so much for being here, dude. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat. He says, hello, everyone. I can't wait for the Xbox Series X. Hashtag and Seth. I don't even know how to even say that. And she thick too. Okay, and she thick too. My God, I'm sorry. I'm getting older, folks. Give me. Sorry about that.
Let me add this to the panel as a question. Now, obviously, a lot of people are talking about this too. The sparse lineup possibility for PS5 and Series X. I'm not sure. You
know what? We're gonna have to come back to that, dude, because that's. I mean, we could do another hour on that. I don't think it's gonna be sparse at all. I think it's gonna be. It's going to have a lot of surprises. And I think Microsoft and both Sony are going to bring it. But Psycho UKNAS 666 drops a $5 super chat. And he says, 2 years ago, I was on the verge of suicide and the Xbox community came to the rescue. And I owe my life to all of you. Thank you for that. Listen, dude, wow, man, that is deep. And I am so glad you're still here. I'm so glad that you're in the chat listening. You know, the super chat is great, but more important than that is that you are still here with us. And thank you for sharing something so personal. And I'm glad. I don't know if I had anything to do with that. Again, the Xbox community is tremendous, but we are all thankful that you are still here. Elemental P drops a $2 super chat. He says, Doom, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, anything change here? Yeah, well, no one's ever going to say no to those franchises. But I want to move on to the next topic. Because,
real quick, Boom, I was going to say, maybe mention how the people can play for prizes again for anyone that missed it the first time or forgot where to go or what they have to do.
Well, you know what it is. I had put out a tweet earlier in the week, and of course, I did reach. I did it. The first 5 people that were picked were picked using the miniwebtool.com, and that was the people that actually retweeted. I put everybody into the list and drew the names from there. The next 5 are going to be people that are picked from actually that are live here in the chat. And that's also going to be using the mini web tool. That's why I've been quiet and I've been doing a lot of muting, because I'm writing everyone's name down. Trust me, this production shit is real, and I'm trying to make sure that I get it right. But let's get, and of course I have to come back around to BitCloud Gaming, my Capcom brother, because the next story is going to be a doozy. Now, this is breaking news. Capcom has registered a new trademark, several trademarks for that matter, of some of their biggest IPs, and that includes, and get ready for this, King, Power Stone, okay, Darkstalkers, Rockman / Mega Man here in the States, and the granddaddy of them all, and holy F, it is, of course, Dino Crisis, something that we have all been crying for. And after the huge success of Resident Evil 2 and the almost guaranteed success of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, there is no doubt in my mind that this is coming. Now, obviously, since the release of Resident Evil 7 in 2017, Capcom has been cranking out hit after hit after hit. And again, you had Monster Hunter Worlds, Devil May Cry 5, Resident Evil 2 Remake. They all saw huge critical and commercial success, and that's a big deal for companies, especially Capcom, who was on the brink of disaster in 2016. And even the early this year HD port of Onimusha, who sold tremendously well, has opened the door for full-on remakes similar to Resident Evil 2 and the recently revealed RE3. Now, without saying that I'm a fan of Capcom, that would be actually considered an understatement. But I will say this: as we progress with this show, this might be a formality at this point for Capcom, but everything that they have been doing is leading to something that we've all been waiting for a very long time. And if the incredible IP gets the same treatment that Resident Evil 2 did, OMG, the younger gaming community who missed out on this classic survival horror franchise that used dinosaurs to the best ability are going to be really smiling from ear to ear. Now, according to a Twitter account that tweets out trademark applications in Japan for the public / international trademark gazette, Capcom has filed several new trademarks. Apart from Power Stone and Rockman, they also, of course, have filed a new trademark for 1989's panic horror classic known as Dino Crisis. Now, BitCloud, I have to go to you first on this because you are our Resident Evil freak, and I want to bring up one particular part on the screen that was redone, but this is fan art. This isn't from the game. I wish I was that tight with Capcom. Look at this. Do you remember this part? Because I certainly do, because that damn freaking T-Rex ate me 100,000 times before I was able to get away.
Yeah, the mash A to get away. Oh
my God.
Dude.
BitCloud, when you first saw this pop up on the DM that I was going to do this story, I know that you were like, yep, I'm all in on this one. What are your thoughts of the potential Dino Crisis reboot using the RE engine?
Well, first, let's just give them a round of applause. I remember literally, it's insane how crazy the tone has changed for them. Yeah, I remember when they first redid Devil May Cry, we didn't get the gameplay yet. They was charging $5,000 for a jacket. I remember that. We were like, are you guys out your mind? You haven't even done anything. Look at them. Now, I said this before numerous times, even on the show. It's all about going back to your roots and just, and get that inspiration, basically. And thank God they decided to do that. Now, this little picture you're showing here, this brought back some memory. This is outside the actual post upstairs on the second floor. But you know what I want to see? I want to see that scene with Cooper where he's in the woods and this damn T-Rex came out knowing that. You remember that? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That was oh my god, that set the tension for that entire game. And this is definitely Capcom going back to the roots. I'm proud of this because this is something I've been dying for this game for the longest. I just wanted to see what they can deliver on the next gen, and especially going into next gen consoles. This is one of those crazy things. Now, again, you said it where they use dinosaurs to the best of their ability with the systems. I mean, it's funny if you go back and you look at that, you go, man, it might feel cheesy, but it's got some crazy music.
Yes.
It's going to be insane on a Resident Evil 2's engine. That is some of the best, like, oh my God. I can talk about Resident Evil all day because Resident Evil just was that good. But after what we saw from Nemesis, we know Nemesis is going to be really, really great. This is more than likely going to be a top priority. I'm thinking this might be the next project. I don't think they'll do another Resident Evil right after Nemesis. I think they'll jump right into this because this is definitely a beloved franchise that everybody wants. This longest. And man, there was so many games we brought up. I think we brought up Time Crisis too. We brought up so many great games they had. It's like, man.
Well, listen, the one thing that I mean, look, there are certain companies that you go back in the days and you look and that are still around, that still have such a prominent catalog of an incredible experiences. Nintendo is a part of that. Sony, Sony Interactive is a part of that because there's some massive, classic franchises that they brought back. Even Xbox, being newer, right, has tremendous IPs that they have not taken advantage of, which saddens me as a fan. But then you talk about the third-party companies, right? Obviously, Konami is no more. So, they are who they are. But when you talk about, when you talk about Capcom, my God, their IP catalog is not to be believed. And bringing these games back, Big Cloud, is the best thing that has happened to this company in a decade.
Dude, I remember when they were talking about Capcom being bought. Yeah, I remember that. Where
I do,
so bad. Now look at them. They turned everything literally around, and it's for the better. I think it's for the better.
I'm upset. I'm upset.
No, I'm actually happy. I'm happy because they found that inspiration. They found that passion, and it's showing in the games.
They did. I mean, that was why Street Fighter was likely exclusive to PlayStation. They needed the cash.
They needed that cash.
Today, right now. We can't rely on how it might sell. We need money now.
Right now.
We're actually buyout, right?
Yeah.
And it just makes more sense. So it's nice to see a company like Capcom not need that type of avenue anymore. They can make the games that they want to make, and they make them good.
They sold for that Street Fighter 5. They sold for that. But
it might have been what kept them going. Like without that deal, they might have collapsed for all we know. Like it might have been the thing that actually kept them alive for them to do what they've done.
That's true. Because that game doesn't look the same as it did when it launched, and I'm glad that they stuck with it. They just released another DLC for it. Like a week or two ago. Yeah, and I said this is a different Capcom because normally with Capcom is when a game doesn't hit automatically, they drop it. But this thing has went through revisions on top of revisions, and because I was supposed to play Portal Rock. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and I finally booted up my PlayStation, and I had like 50 gigs of stuff that I had to DLC and download. And he's laughing, I'm laughing, we're talking about it, and then we're getting into the game. I'm like, yo, it looks completely different. He was like, yeah, they kept going. Yeah, and I'm so pleased that this happened. But when I said I was disappointed that Capcom made it, I wanted Microsoft to buy them.
The game wasn't that well received. I remember it dropped pretty bad from the Evo scene. Like it's still at Evo, but it's not like it's a priority as it was. I remember back in the day, Capcom and Street Fighter was the king. We have
the second topic of after this is we're gonna be talking about some Street Fighter 6 and where it's going because it's not going to be a console exclusive. But Eve, I want to go to you. I want to go to you real quick, Eve, if you don't mind, about Dino Crisis. Sure. Does this game bring back any memories for you? And are you just as excited as the community at large to see a remake on the level of quality that we just saw in 2019 for Resident Evil 2?
Yes, actually, as a kid, when I originally played it, it terrified me. It was one of those games like I bought, I traded in, I bought, I traded in again just to see if I could do it, and I never actually beat Dino Crisis. So this is kind of like a second chance for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then, you know, of course, Resident Evil. I was a little shy off of playing 2, and then I played 2, and now I want 3. And then I want 4, especially 4 more than anything. 4 was definitely my favorite, but I absolutely I love the direction that Capcom is going into. I just want my Onimusha. That's all I want.
Yeah.
It was great for them to release what was it, Warlords, and but that's not what I want. I want a ground, like, from bottom up. I want a fresh game. I know it'll take forever, but if they were able to release Warlords, I just hope that they'll have a new Onimusha game, because I remember when Ghost of Tsushima, I think, when that first was promoted, I thought it was Onimusha, and everything in me, I had like all like the nerd goosebumps and the excitement, and then I got disappointed.
Oh, but come on, Primal. There's no dinosaurs in Onimusha. Video games are lacking dinosaurs like they're lacking Marvel heroes right now. Like, honestly, I don't understand. We got that Jurassic Park kind of RTS game.
Oh, yeah.
That's sort of it. Like, where are the dinosaurs in our games? I would love like a Turok remake of some variety. That'd be sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Talking.
They're not looking at
like dinosaurs are amazing. Like, it's one of those like magical creatures that actually was real. Like, they're a real thing at one time, and it's just nuts. And I think that with today's tech, they could be done some serious justice in gaming, and we just kind of don't ever see them, almost ever. It's a shame.
It's probably because they're not as cool to the newer generation as it was for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was exciting.
The Zoomers again, they don't like dinos. Are you saying the Zoomers don't like dinosaurs? Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure that this coming generation is going to be scared of dinosaurs with Dino Crisis Remake.
I remember playing the game one time on the PlayStation, and it was frightening, but I don't remember the details. I just remember,
the details?
Just dropping my bowels frequently on jump scares with the dinos. Like, that's really, I couldn't give you
I was terrified. I never.
So it's almost going to be an all new game beyond the remake for me, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Real quick on that picture you were showing, Boom. That's got to be like somewhat of a PC remaster. There's no way that was PlayStation 1. There's not grain silo enough.
Everybody's making pictures.
Yeah, this is fan art.
It's fan art.
No, that makes more sense. I'm like, that is way too clean to be PlayStation 1. I mean, back in those days, it was a grain silo on every single texture. Everything looked like Minecraft, pretty much, right?
The sharp edges, everything.
Absolutely horrendous. And I was kind of like, whoa, that looks really clean. Like, how is this possible? I'm looking forward to it, especially because they're on that remake train, man. They're doing it right. I think they're setting the standard on how to do old IP in today's world. And if they're going to do that with Dino Crisis, oh, baby.
Yeah.
So is everybody streaming the game? Will everybody be streaming it, like on their channels at all?
With a homemade monitor attack.
You don't stream it all? I would love to see everybody's reaction to that first body you find in the game. You know, I'm talking about the scientist, where it's like, oh my God, this guy's been eviscerated. I want to see that first reaction for everybody, just to see that comparison. That's going to
Primal, is there anything else you'd like to add before we move on to the next panel member?
Oh no, go ahead. Everybody's pretty much saying all my thoughts for the most part, except for Shady. I just don't get the dinosaurs anymore.
Oh man,
yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You know, for us, it's dinosaurs. For some of the younger generation, it's zombies, right?
Right. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So for us, it's really exciting. Like, even seeing Jurassic Park when that movie came out, holy shit! Like, that was mind blowing. But now it's completely different. If my daughter saw a dinosaur, she's just like, "That's cool. Did you know?" Blah 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 blah. Like, not even like afraid of it, or not. They're not as not knowledgeable of dinosaurs as they are.
We got to put on Jurassic Park with the volume on maximum. I traumatized my youngest siblings doing that, and they're still to this day, like, they tell me all the time how I freaked them out as kids just watching Jurassic Park with my parents' stereo shaking the house loud. It freaked them the hell out.
Well, you know what, Shady, being that you're talking about this, I want to bring you into the fold regarding this. Now, obviously Capcom has been riding this wave of nostalgia all the way to the bank, and it makes perfect sense to continue down this very lucrative path. Reviving the classic IP known as Dino Crisis is going to not only delight the classic fans of survival horror, like a lot of people that on this panel that are a little older. I still think that they could bring new people into the fray simply because, obviously Jurassic Park still has a place in the world. There are new movies coming out, so having a game that will have you on the edge of your seat, you're not sure whether or not the Velociraptor is going to come and tear your face off. What do you think about this? And are you excited to see what they can do with the RE engine using the classic IP?
Well, absolutely, man. Other than the apparent Zoomers and Primal, I think dinosaurs are pretty huge, and still, like we'll get a big draw. Like I'm pretty sure we don't have other games, and like graphics today are pretty goddamn stellar. And I think running from any dinosaur or killing them, hunting them, anything, it would be awesome. I'd be totally down. And I think this franchise, I mean, I see it all the time on Twitter, in chat, is that this is one of the most requested remakes from Capcom for years. Even before they nailed the remake with Resident Evil 2, people have been asking for this title to be redone. So I mean, it sounds like it's going to be. There's still not a guarantee, but I would be I'd be shocked if they didn't. I mean, they're nailing it with that kind of stuff. It's going well. Everything is well received with Capcom for multiple games now. So why not do something that they can? Obviously, they're seeing the same Twitter. They're using the same programs I'm using. They obviously know what people are looking for and what they're asking. And I think this will come, and I think it's going to be amazing. I look forward to playing it. It'll be frightening as hell. I expect it to be violent because, it's survival horror, and dinosaurs can sure bring the violence. It's out there. It's really out there, and they can change a lot. I was just reading that Resident Evil 3 has got some different things added to it, and they're changing some story elements. And
yes, it's going to be a fresh take on it. It's very excited.
which is awesome, because as much as it's an old series, it's fresh again, even for the diehards that have played it numerous times. Like there's a lot of people that haven't played these games. They're old, this is 15, 20-year-old game. My God, there's people that have been born and got their driver's license and might have kids in that time period. So there's just a lot of people, I think, regardless of how old some of these IP are, that will definitely come on board for the first time, because they just look better than they ever looked. They play better than they've ever played. And this is just something that a lot of people liked. And like I said, this is like the 5th time now. Games are missing dinosaurs, man. We got nothing, and we need them, and I want to shoot them. So
yeah,
sweet.
Listen, I'm right there with you. Ainsley, why don't you give us your opinion on being that you're like myself, you've been gaming for an exquisite amount of time, and that makes us retro, which is again, I think it's cool, but some people are like, yeah, you're just an old bastard. I get it.
A little of both.
But what are your thoughts on Capcom taking these older IPs that are beloved by, of course, the older gamers, which obviously I don't think you ever really grow out of gaming if you love it, and then introducing it in a way that's going to be interesting and eye-catching to the new generation?
Yeah, what took them so long? That's
a great point.
So there's a lot of talk about remakes, and we've gotten a lot of remasters this generation, right? And I think even a lot of people got into remaster fatigue. It's like, man, we need to see something new from these companies. And I think, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but I think Capcom maybe felt kind of the heat from that rather than just coming back. But as I think everyone else already said, with Resident Evil 2, they showed that a remake can almost be like a new game. And these games are so old, as Shady was just saying, that there is an entire generation that never played any of these games. I mean, I could probably ask, people in their 20s what Dino Crisis is. They wouldn't even know what the hell we're talking about. So I mean, I think it's a good time. They have these IPs. You do two things, right? Because you get the people like us who are older and have fond memories and nostalgia with these games. And nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, you get us kind of hyped about it. It spreads across social media. And then because the game's good, it looks fresh. It's on a new engine. You get the young people who have never played it, and it's brand new to them. So I think that's probably a good reason why Resident Evil 2 Remake was, I mean, it was a fantastic game, but you just kind of get both audiences. And so when you talk about games like Dino Crisis, Power Stone's a great one. There's a lot of IPs Capcom has that they could be doing this on. And I haven't heard anyone mention it yet, but I got to shout out. I'm not a big fan of Resident Evil 3. I think that was one of the weaker Resident Evil entries, man. Where the hell is Code Veronica?
Dude,
tell them about
well,
it?
you know, that's actually a great question. And apparently, like I said, a lot of the times I like to investigate the 4chan forums, but you know, obviously you have to take things with a grain of salt. And there is one particular guy that I don't know who he is. He comes off as Anonymous One, and he actually dropped the Capcom Resident 2 6 months before we heard anything, maybe even longer. And then after that, he talked about Resident 3. And after that, he did mention that Capcom is looking to revamp Code Veronica from the ground up, which
Go.
I'm all in for that because that was a Dreamcast exclusive for a while. People don't remember that. The opening, wow.
Amazing,
Still incredible. And listen, all I can say is this: if they keep coming out with these classic Capcom IPs, all I ask is this: one, use the RE engine, which they're going to do, and two, please, for the love of Jehovah, make a collector's edition for every release so I can buy it.
This is for the new generation, though. They get to experience what we experience.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
This
it's like
is
when you got
perfect,
20-year-olds that have never heard of Dino Crisis. What's the reaction when you bring up like Hubert or Pitfall? Back when I used to game in the 1900s, Sonny, listen to me. And like, oh my God, they just got to be like rolling their eyes. It's like, shut up, Grandpa, you boomer.
It's probably
They see it, they're like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so serious.
Oh my God, that's
my boy.
funny.
That's probably true, but I'll tell you what, I'd buy a Qbert remake in a heartbeat. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. We remember playing that. And King, why don't you close this out for us? Because obviously I saved the best for last. Because King obviously is someone that understands that the classics are why we have anything today. We all had to start out with horrible blocks and pixels and dots and rectangles. But when you talk about Capcom, this is a company that harkens back to the NES days and has been prominent in the gaming community for decades upon decades. And here they are doing with a revival unseen by any company in the history of gaming. The comeback has to be talked about. What are your thoughts on Dino Crisis, but more importantly, them continuing this trend of riding the nostalgia wave all the way to the bank?
Well, I remember Dino Crisis being their little experimental project.
Yeah.
You know, because they were doing Resident Evil and they weren't going to mess with polygons against the static backgrounds.
Yes.
And take their beloved IP and see what can happen with it. What they did was they made Dino Crisis, and that was supposed to be the full 3D experience. And just like everybody was saying, if you go back now and look at it, you're like, oh my God,
my eyes.
Yeah. But we also got to remember we're playing on 4K television. Technology is different. You know, you see it on a CRT, and your mouth waters at it again because you're like, wow, man, it looks so good. You know, CRTs for those games made them look better than they actually were. And the technology, the TVs was married to that technology.
The young people don't even know what a CRT is.
Yeah, I just blew their mind. I just said CRT. They was like, what, he's making biscuits or something? What is he making? Yes, CRTs is the most organic form of how you can play a video game. The response time. That's why Street Fighter, I'll break your jaw on a CRT because boy, the response time is a whole lot different than these laggy LCDs that we have. But Capcom has a ton of fortune to go from the heights of ecstasy as far as Street Fighter bringing in such an amount of cash that, you know, they basically built a background off of that, and they were able to foster all these different IPs that will sustain them for years to come. They went right back to the formula, like you said, you went right back to the base, and now you got the Resident Evils too. And I have to, use the fraud light on myself. at this moment because
I don't have one to show you, so you have to bring up your own. I'm sorry. The
here it
production
is.
values are expensive.
And basically, I have the Resident Evil, and I've only played probably 5 minutes of it. Because I have so many things that I'm trying to finish off, like my backlog here and my Destiny slave college work there. So it's like so many different things that I'm trying to juggle, and I want to get back to that game within itself. But Dino Crisis was always that experimental game that worked. Like when a company has an idea, they were riding the wave of Jurassic Park. And, Shady says, we don't have too many Dino games now. I think it's because we had Dino fatigue. They didn't do Jurassic Park in the right frame, how they were supposed to frame it properly. But once they hit, the entertainment world gets a hold of something, it trickles down to us, and it fosters these ideas. But hopefully, being that we are a bigger entertainment value than the movies nowadays, hopefully the remake of Dino Crisis will foster more Dino movies.
Yes.
And it will work in reverse now.
They just got to keep the same tone. That was the thing about Dino Crisis. The tone changed drastically from each installment. It wasn't. It didn't
Two was
feel
good. 3 was an abomination.
Yeah, it didn't feel as horror based, right? It felt more action based, arcadey type of based. Like, that's not what inspired me to play this game. When I played Dino Crisis, I thought of Jurassic Park, the first one, where the park went to hell. And you literally were just being stalked by these damn dinosaurs.
The series got more progressively sci-fi, if I recall, didn't it?
Yeah. Abomination was terrible. It was just absolutely terrible.
I'll say on Capcom, man, we've heard so many times in this community that nostalgia is a hell of a drug. I think it's safe to say that Capcom is setting themselves up to be the Pablo Escobar of said drug as far as this company is concerned, man. They want to take over that market, and that's totally cool.
Well, listen, this has been a great Capcom topic, which we're going to follow up with another one. So suck it if you don't like it. So before we get into that topic, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, Sir X-Man, who's always here showing the love and support for Double Barrel Gaming. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat, and he says, "I repeat, I want a remake of Extermination for the PlayStation 2. I don't remember that game, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I remember it.
And Raymond Morel with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Dear baby Jesus, please give me my Legacy of Kane 2 Soul Reaver remake. Great show, Boom. Keep it up, brother." Well, thank you. Yes, a remake of Soul Reaver. Come on, man. It's got to happen. But we're gonna bring up the next topic. And of course, we're gonna keep on with the Street Fighter love that apparently we talked about earlier in the episode. Now, obviously, Street Fighter 5. Let's talk about that for a second, because when you talk about blunders, this is probably one of Capcom's finest. And it came in a time where desperation might have set in. Obviously we were talking about, the possibility of going bankrupt in 2016, and then and the reasoning behind them making this an exclusive to the PlayStation 4, which obviously Street Fighter has never. The only time Street Fighter has ever been an exclusive, and I'm going to bring this all the way back, is when it released on the Turbo Graphics when it was fighting Streets. Okay. And people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Go look that up. That was an exclusive way back in the days. And then obviously it came to everything. Street Fighter 2 came out and changed. Basically, Capcom changed the world with that release. And Street Fighter 6, as we know, is coming. And in a story that I pulled from comicbook.com, the release window may have been leaked with information regarding the 2020 Capcom Cup. Try to say this fast 3 times. The 2020 Capcom Cup champion not being auto qualified, suggesting that the next installment of the iconic long-running franchise is coming in 2021. Now, as we know, Street Fighter V was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, still is a PlayStation exclusive, and launched on February 15th of 2016. Now, why that date and year is ultra significant is because that's the year that the rumblings within the industry of Capcom being bought off, going out of business totally, or even filing for Chapter 11. They unfortunately, from what I was able to dig up, like BitCloud was saying, had to make a full-on exclusive deal for PlayStation 4 for this game to actually be made. And here's the thing: if you don't know this, I'm going to bring some facts to the table. As it stands of this podcast, Street Fighter V is the worst selling Street Fighter in the long-running franchise. The
Also,
worst.
I believe it.
Yeah. And the reception of it also is not great too. It's like
no, absolutely. Now,
mediocre.
look, I'm going to say this: there's no excusing how bad the game was upon release. It was missing so much, and it was broken in such a way that the disc itself barely worked. Now, I bought it. I have the Ryu statue right above my head with all my collectibles. Love it, but the game was a bit of a mess.
Didn't match the statue.
Yeah. On top of that, now obviously, if you fast forward to 2019, Capcom is seeing a revival of greatness. We just talked about that, and I am going to say this, and you can mark this down. You can timestamp this if you want. I am telling you for an absolute fact that the next Street Fighter 6, is in no way, shape, or form going to be a PlayStation 4/5 exclusive, and you can lock that in. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Capcom loves effing money, and they're making it hand over fist, bringing out Resident Evil 2 on everything, Resident Evil 3 on everything, Devil May Cry 5 on everything. The list just keeps going.
Plus, they got enough of the budget to put it on both platforms.
Yes, and now they have,
now
they have the budget. So you know what? I'm going to go to So Shady on this first, because I want to get your take. Obviously, seeing Capcom do this revival with their older franchises, you have to seriously admit that, at some time or another, we were going to get a Street Fighter 6. And they obviously went through a tremendous amount of growing pains with 5. And to be honest with you, they have turned the corner. The game looks amazing. It plays amazing. It actually has a story mode. Online actually works, surprisingly enough. And you're not dropped out of matches. And they are in a financial position where they do not have to be locked down to making any backdoor dirty deals. What are your thoughts of Street Fighter 6 coming to all of the consoles that we know and love?
That'd be sick, man. Like I just said, it sounds like Capcom's got that vitamin D RUG for everybody when it comes to the nostalgia. And Street Fighter, my God, that's like one of the OGs of fighting games, like if not the true first original hugely popular OG fighting game. And to see it just go exclusive to one brand this time was a disappointment for sure. The sales, they were horrible, which is nuts. Like, for it to be the lowest out of them all, like we're talking on a system that has 100+ million consoles out there. The Super Nintendo peaked at like 30, I think, or like 24 even. Back in the day, back in the 1900s, the game consoles were not selling. They weren't doing the numbers like they are today. So if it truly sold less than those original games, that is a staggering truth. That was a move that necessarily didn't please the fans. But like we spoke earlier, it might have been a true necessity for Capcom to stay alive and be able to release just the amazingness that they have from Monster Hunter on, basically. It's just been hit after hit after hit for them, and they might have had to cut that deal, and the franchise suffered for a couple of years because of it. But I fully expect the next one, of course, to be on multi-plat, and that's awesome. I always loved the game. I'm a big fighting game fan. I like to play with my buddies. We're not too dead serious. We're pretty good, but we're not like gizmos. We're not ready for the MLG, you know what I'm saying? But right. We have a great time. We play a lot. We're extremely loud. We're screaming. We're yelling at each other. We have like a gentleman's rule. You don't turtle up like some coward, and you don't just spam the fireball. Like, you got to get in there. You throw yourselves at each other and see what happens. We have a great time. And because of what Street Fighter did this gen, we missed out on it. We have a PlayStation, but we just didn't didn't pick it up. I mean, it wasn't reviewing well. Not that I don't even like to say reviewing. I don't care about reviews. It's just the community wasn't saying that it was a must play fighter. So we didn't go that route because there's a ton of other fighters to play. So we played those. But I hope it comes back in a really big way, just like all their other games have been doing for the last few years. And everyone is just kind of like, let the past be the past. Now's now, and it's on, because I love Street Fighter. A lot of people love Street Fighter. I'd love to see it come back and get the recognition that it once had.
No, that's a great point. Obviously, and hopefully they're going to do it right. As you can see, the picture I pulled up is what the Street Fighter 6 could potentially look like. I pulled this from of course, the interwebs. This is artwork that was done by a huge fan, and there was no name for it because obviously I'd give them a massive shout out. This is magnificent work. But could you, King? Let me go to you, Mr. Nostalgia himself. I mean, for crying out loud, he's got an arcade machine with 9,972 games in it. When you talk about classics, Street Fighter is the biggest classic of them all. Look at this picture. Could you imagine if this is what we're playing on the Series X and PS5? Holy shit, my brain just exploded.
Well, today I'm going to put a fight in streets because you just awakened something inside of me. I'm going to post that today so, guys can see what it looks like, because we live in this bubble and we think everybody has the same experience as we do. They don't. No. But looking at this game, the Street Fighter on the PlayStation Pro doesn't look too far off from this, to be honest with you.
It does look good. It looks strong. Yeah, it does.
It's a damn good looking game. It sucks that it didn't sell. And you can see the difference in philosophies with Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. They will always be linked, and those are the two prominent fighting games of our generation, and they're still kicking and going strong now. And we're debating what's going to happen with Street Fighter 6 and how it's going to look. I think it's going to return back to its top form. Mm-hmm. I think Capcom knew what they had to do, and not a necessity. Sometimes you make a deal with the devil, but if it allowed you to substantiate, more growth in other areas to keep you afloat, to keep those wolves from your door, then you had to do what you had to do. I still purchased the game. I still supported Capcom. I still played the game, but I fell off from the game with the bad internet. The shoddy services in the beginning.
Yeah, it hurt the game bad.
Yeah, it didn't even launch with a story, and it was a huge departure from what they built us up to what we received. It was a bare bones game. Now it's more of a real meal. If you're gonna go, if you have a PlayStation, never had a chance to try it, I suggest you go out and give it a shot. I don't know if it's how much it's running for right now. You could probably get it for $10, and you can check it out because it's definitely worth it. But looking forward, I see this releasing on both systems early 21, and I think it does what this one was supposed to do.
Yeah,
because if Microsoft does what I've seen them doing, the trend is if they show the game on their screen at whatever event that they're having, if your game is promoted on a sizzle reel, that game is going to be launched inside Game Pass. And if it's launched inside Game Pass, then the level of eyeballs that will be on your game will be immense. And then, the aftermarket buying happens right then and there, which is strategic and financially a windfall for companies sometimes, if they don't get a chance to get their game out there for a lot of people. Some people are pissed off that Street Fighter wasn't on Xbox. Some people are pissed off that it wasn't launched well. But if they get a chance to try it for, let's say, free, it's not free. Game Pass is not free. These services are not free, but it's a supplementary service for you to play. You get a chance to play it in addition to something that you really was looking forward to. You might turn around and buy the game if you see it leaving Game Pass that month. So I think growth happens there. This game needs it. I hope it gets it. And I think it's going to be the complete game that that Street Fighter 5 should have been. I believe 6 is going to be that complete game that we want.
Well, that's actually, you know what? I think you're 100% right. And if you look at the screen, this is actually a screenshot from the PlayStation 4 Pro prior to the actual loading screen that comes up before the fight starts. Primal Eve, before I get to you, I have to thank Darsh Knight with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Hey all, 5 more sleps." And I mean, I guess that's the terminology for the currency. Let me see. I guess I just lost it. Okay, here it is. He says, "Hope you all have a great Xmas." Of course, dude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your generosity, and of course, thank you for supporting Double Barrel Gambling. And of course, like a hero of heroes, someone that everyone in the community knows and loves, Wilmy Hood drops a ridiculous $50 super chat. He says, "Merry Christmas, gamers." And of course, if you don't know, he does have an amazing podcast. That's he has actually 2 of them. One if you like horror, and one if you like video games. It's raw. It's interesting. He tells it like it is. And he's someone that if you're not following on Twitter and sub to his YouTube channel, shame on you. And on top of already being an amazing person, he is one of the most generous people I've personally ever met in my entire life, who did something for me so amazing, so Christmas-like, so Santa-ish, if you will. He bought me the VR headset called the Oculus Quest. And I'm using it every day. As a matter of fact, I'm using it so much that I have not touched my PS4 or my Xbox One because, man, I freaking love VR. But let me actually
real quick, Boom. I was going to say that first one there. While it is a currency, those weren't sleps; they were sleeps. 5 more sleeps until Christmas, sir. Not a slep currency.
Oh,
okay.
I got
crazy slang you're using, but yeah.
Listen, I apologize for the misreading, but like I said, this production stuff, man, is serious, and I don't think I'm going to be doing this many giveaways in one shot because my brain is about to leak out of my right ear trying to do all of this stuff. But before I put myself on mute to try and pick these last 5 winners and still produce the show properly, Primal Eve, how excited are you to know that if you didn't have a PlayStation 4 or even a PlayStation 5, that if you are going to support one console, there's a good shot that this is going to be on multiple platforms? And what is your love or hate for the Street Fighter brand?
I am extremely in love with Street Fighter. I grew up with Street Fighter. It's all I did. I used to skip classes in high school to talk strategy with other people. One of my buddies actually he plays professionally as well. And it's something that we've always done because it brought people together like that. My friends would come over and we would sit down and we would play Street Fighter, and they would hate me because I never lost my seat. But when I heard 5 was coming out, I wasn't exactly aware that it was just going to be a Sony exclusive. And then when I did, I was extremely disappointed because even though I do love Street Fighter, all my friends are on Xbox. And even though I wouldn't mind playing by myself all day, which I'm sure I still do, it wasn't appealing enough for me to play it on the PlayStation. And then I started hearing about other people's experiences with it, and I was okay that I didn't, and I just went right back to 4 on the Xbox. So hearing that 6 could actually be the game made with the passion that it should have been made with 5 is really exciting for me. Like I'm so excited. I just want to kick ass. That's all I want to do. I just want to destroy people all day. Like even when I used to when I used to work at a video game store that buys and sells used games, on my breaks, we used to have Street Fighter up on when we used to have arcade systems, and I would have customers come in, and that's all I did on my breaks. I would just do that over and over. Or if it was like, do I eat this week or do I buy this really sweet controller? So it was like, that's all I did. I love Street Fighter. I'm very excited for this to be coming out. And yeah, that's all.
I've been seeing everyone on the panel and in the chat saying how beautiful this game looks now. And I'm looking at the graphics.
Oh, yeah.
How can that be? It's a cartoony. How can it possibly be gorgeous?
It's so ridiculous.
What is going on here?
As long as they keep making Chun-Li's thighs bigger, I don't care. I'm doing whatever you got to do.
Well, I'm going to say
Yeah.
this. It's great to know that this series, I mean, obviously, after the disastrous launch of 5, this is a series that could have died off and never seen the light of day again. And that would, of course, would have been terrible for gaming. Ainsley, I want to go to you on this next one. Obviously, Capcom is seeing record sales, and they are obviously they're going to want to maximize profit count by releasing the next Street Fighter on everything they can. If a toaster can play it, guess what? You're getting Street Fighter 6, sucker. So, what are your thoughts on the potential of this finally coming to the gaming masses, but also potentially looking like this picture right here, which is ridiculous?
Yeah, so first let me say again, going back to our history, right? The arcades and Street Fighter 2 was a revelation. It literally changed the industry, and I have such fond memories. I think we talked about this on ILP as well, King. I have such fond memories of being in the arcade day in, day out with any change I could find to play Street Fighter 2. I became a tournament player. I played tournament Street Fighter 2, tournament MK1 and 2. I just adored it. And you guys already said kind of everything that needed to be said about Street Fighter 5, right? It was a disappointment at launch, only on PS4. It didn't, despite being an exclusive, it didn't launch well. The content wasn't there. But as we've already been talking about for a little while now, right? Capcom they're different. They're in a different space right now than they were 3-4 years ago. And there's no doubt in my mind that with what they have now, the quality they're putting out, the kind of refocus they have on their games and quality and expectations of the fan base, that Street Fighter 6 is going to be back to what we want out of a Street Fighter. There's also no doubt, as you said, that this is going to come to all platforms. I think the content will be there day one. I think with the advances that have been made, particularly by NetherRealm with MK and Injustice on the netcode side of competitive online gaming, I think Capcom's going to take advantage of all of that, and it'll be an absolute joy to see Street Fighter 6 launch and bring the series back to that kind of I don't even know the word I'm looking for here, but to be as excellent as we all remember Street Fighter being. I'm not as big into fighters nowadays as I used to be, but there's just, again, you're in that nostalgia, it's a franchise that many of us just adore. And so to see it get the recognition it deserves, and to Capcom do it justice, I'm really excited for.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, listen, the potential for how great this can be, it harkens back to learning from your mistakes, which what we're seeing Microsoft do, right? We've seen them learn from everything that they did wrong, and they've turned the ship around. And Capcom is following suit. And of course, another Capcom huge fan himself of BitCloud Gaming. We're going to close out today's show with this topic because we're already past 2 hours. But I want to get your opinion on this because obviously you have a love for Capcom, and you have a love for Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Onimusha, but Street Fighter, that's a franchise that, my God, has seen so many iterations over the years, and it is something that deserves the Resident Evil 2 dominance that we saw in early 2019. What are your expectations for Street Fighter 6 next gen?
Well, I mean, talk about a franchise that's grown up with us in general.
Yeah.
Over the years, it's literally, you can watch some of your early, if not, well, not early, but your early movies, and you can find Street Fighter, whether it's on like a shelf or them playing it, like the actors playing it. I don't know if y'all remember that movie Juice.
Yes.
I mean, you can go back and find that game somewhere in your childhood. But to go back to here now, again, this is a different Capcom. They weren't like scrounging for money. That's the only reason it was for PS4, at the time exclusive. And it launched whenever a game launches incomplete, it's either because of one or two things. One, they don't have the budget, or two, they rushed it. That was basically Capcom's whole philosophy. They basically relied on the name itself to sell the game. And that's why you're still getting characters to this day for Street Fighter right now. The new one, now, after that ridiculous decision, they pretty much dropped when it came to Evo. Like, a lot of people didn't really watch like Evo tournaments for them like that. Like it was they watched, right? You said the faithful, but not like insanely high. I remember Tekken 7 pretty much took over the scene as late with Pakistan joining the fray when it came to tournaments now. So you know, Tekken 7's pretty much been on their own high, you know, ever since then. So it's like their quest for, you know, money ended up helping Tekken 7 go up. So for this one, my only thing for them going into this one is to bring your A game. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no incomplete roster. Right? I don't want no incomplete roster. You need to bring all the heavy hitter characters that people want. You got to definitely bring it with the story and really treat this like the way you've done the Resident Evil series. Give it that passion that you know damn well it deserves and really deliver. As of right now, you know, I'm not really a Street Fighter guy anymore, but I'm more of a Tekken 7 guy. But you know, I can definitely say that if they really do deliver, best believe I'll get back into Street Fighter without a doubt. It's that simple. If I really see that it's worth, you know, me jumping into, but you know, it won't. You know, that's going to be a little. That's the goal pretty much is to win back the consumer trust, which I said earlier in the show.
It's important to do that. And if you didn't already have Street Fighter 5, which like King alluded to, you probably get for like $10. They are releasing a Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition on February 14th, 2020, and it's $30 right now to reserve. It's going to include 45 plus characters, 200 plus outfits for those 45 characters, and all of the DLC content that they've been dropping for it, including the new stages. So $30 gets you everything, and actually that $30 is probably going to get you the best version. So I already have mine pre-ordered. I pulled up my order while I was on, you know, while you guys were talking on Amazon. $30, folks. I mean, listen, if you want to let Capcom know how excited you are for Street Fighter 6 and you are a fan, get out there and buy this PS4 exclusive, because obviously it looked good, as you can see from now. But I just have to I just want to say publicly, this has been, we had almost 300 people on today's show, and that's pretty impressive. It was a big turnout once again for the Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. Obviously, she would love to be here. She's kind of shy, so she probably, even if she was sitting next to me, she probably wouldn't say a word. She likes working behind the scenes, and she is the reason why my channel is successful, because of her ridiculous support. But before we get to the outros, the next 5 winners of today's massive giveaway are as follows: Christina, J-Mo Sirius X, Masshole 1977, Sleepy Goblin, and Crispy Bomb. Congratulations to you 5 winners.
Nice.
Hit me up in the DM and just let me know what $25 gift card you want, whether it's PlayStation Network, the Nintendo eShop, of course, Xbox Live. I will head over to GameStop after the show once I'm done doing all my production work, and I will get those and send those by mid-afternoon today. But of course, I want to obviously, I want to just close out by saying, this has been an incredible year for Double Barrel Gaming. We had some massive records broken yesterday. We had almost 500 people watching live for the Xbox Factor podcast. I finally broke 3,000 subs, which is amazing. And we had before 6 minutes after the show ended, and this is record numbers. We already had almost 3,500 views for that particular one show, and that is just maddening.
Amazing.
I cannot believe 2 years ago, November 3rd, I put up my shittiest video you could possibly imagine that doesn't even have a thumbnail, for crying out loud. And you know what? I left it like that. If you go back all the way to November 3rd, 2017, that shitty video is right there for you to laugh at and mock at me. But of course, I've become a much better podcaster since then, and I keep it there as a reminder that everyone, and I mean everyone, starts from the bottom. And this has been one heck of a ride, and this has been one heck of a show. So let's get into, of course, the outros. And I'm going to start with the 2 main people on this panel weekly that come out and donate 2 hours of their time to talk gaming. So Shady, listen, dude, I asked you quite a while back to be a part of this, and you humbly accepted my offer. And it has been great to have you a part of all of the shows that you've been on. You bring a real passion for gaming and a bit of spiciness at the back end, just like a good burrito. And I definitely appreciate what you do each and every day that you are here. Please tell everyone where they can find you on Twitter and check out your other work.
Let's just hope it's the right back end when it comes to the spiciness of that burrito. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But no, man, I've absolutely loved being a part of your shows for the last almost 2 years now, like a year and a half-ish. It's been just time blowing by. That tells me that I'm having a damn good time over here. Wicked community being built. We have one of the greatest chats ever, man. It's just no trolling. We got legit gamers going on, coming in, tuning in week after week to listen to us talk about the hobby we all love. You put together a fantastic panel of guests all the time. King, Primal. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I forgot. Kingsley.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry.
It's not a common name.
I just
No worries.
come across
No
so many
worries.
names both in chat and rotating panel members. I apologize, but yeah, it is what it is. You know, it was great talking games with everybody here in the Christmas memories, both the emotional ones and the spoiled ones. It's just nice to see everyone from all types of life get together and be able to enjoy something like gaming and talk about it and whatnot. It was just an awesome time. I hope everyone has a very safe and happy holidays and happy New Year. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And you know, you guys make it worth coming out. I would talk games with just us if no one was here, but you guys sure make it worth doing every week, especially on Fridays when it's really, really early over here on the West Coast. But my God, you guys are the best. I love it. I love coming here. Thanks, everyone. Happy gaming. I'll talk to you again soon.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I just got to shout out a couple of people. First of all, Infinite AA dropped an additional $5 super chat. And I cannot find it on my, for some reason, my chat is, I've lost it in both ways. If anyone sees that last one and just could read it out, it'd be greatly appreciated. Rain G4
I said, shout out to Bruce Lee for being in every fighting game. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's yes. Rain G4, thank you for the comment, boss. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And of course, Wilmy Hood, who continues just to just knock me off my socks, drops an additional outstanding and ridiculous super chat for $50 more. Thank you so much, dude. That's very kind. He says, Boom is a real gamer. No flip-flopping here. No. And I appreciate you saying that, dude, because yes, there is no flip-flopping. I'm a gamer. I have been since I was a kid. Since my dad in 1978 brought home the Atari 2600 for me and my brother. I have been playing games, and it has been the best I've ever had. And of course, Elemental PO, who's no slouch when it comes to being generous and supporting the Double Barrel Gaming banner, he drops an additional $2 super chat. He says, "Great show, great panel, and you listen to ideas." Yes, no, I do. I actually, a lot of the production values that you're seeing have come from DMs, have come from comments on YouTube, and I'm glad that people are enjoying them. It really makes me happy as a content creator. But of course, BitCloud, I want to go to you next because you obviously have something happening today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that everyone should tune in for. You are a prominent member of this community. You are an outstanding podcaster yourself, and you have one hell of a channel. Please tell everyone where they can follow you and check out your work.
Well, first of all, happy holidays to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody has a safe Christmas. It's definitely been a hell of a show. Good talking to everybody. Good conversation. David, always a pleasure.
Oh, my man.
Always a pleasure. It's my brother right there. Real talk. All right, salute to the Lords. But 5 p.m. Eastern Time, RGT Podcast on my channel, Big Cloud Gaming. You guys can follow me on Twitter, the exact same name. It's definitely going to be a hell of a show, a lot to go over. And you guys are into that positivity, you'll definitely find it on RGT.
Nice.
Nothing but nonstop gaming. Can't wait for the show. And just very grateful to everybody who's reached out over the coming year. A lot of new friendships have been made. Just made a crazy friendship with Mooch. That was pretty cool last night. So shout out to everybody here again. And here's to 2020, not just for you guys as gamers, but just for all of us. You know, it's going to be a good year for not just YouTubers, but just for gamers. We got new consoles dropping. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. And you know, the conversations never end. And that's something that you all should take to heart, is that gaming is always with us. So much love to everybody in the chat. And
Well, thank you so much for being here. As always, love having you a part of this panel. And actually, I kind of recall of what Infinite Double A had said in his $5 super chat. He said something to the to the fact that 2020 is going to be one heck of a year for gaming. But I just want to add to what he was saying. Yeah, it's going to be one heck of a year, but it's also going to be one heck of an expensive year. So if you have good hooking skills, get out there and start working on that corner so you can pay for all these systems.
My God.
Of course, I will bring it to the king who knows how to make money, but not by hooking, by just being a good businessman.
Wow.
You know him as the voice, the boisterous voice, the powerful voice of the Iron Lord podcast, one of my personal favorite shows. And I got to tell you this, these men on this panel are probably my favorite human beings to be around, to talk to be a part of, because they're real and they're brothers. And being able to go to E3 with them was a dream come true. And they made that shit happen because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And they worked it out. They showed me the ways of the force. And the king, listen, love having you a part of this panel. Love your outbursts. Love how passionate you are for gaming. Please tell everyone where they can not only get thrown in the bushes, get the fraud light put on them if they act out, and listen to one of the best shows on YouTube in the Iron Lords podcast.
Boom. On behalf of the whole Iron Lords podcast, I am humbled by everything that you just said. And you know, you with us at E3, and Ainsley was there as well. It is a great experience. You and me and you spent so much time together.
Yes.
It was out of control. Me and Boom got stories for days.
I did steal his car, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. I see him driving around the block. I'm like, where's the Corvette at? And he's like, so, listen, guys, I love the panel. I was freaking out. I was texting Boom when I was updating my PC. I'm like, I'm coming, Boom. I will be there, brother. So, as y'all can see, the statues that I have, this is a preview for what's going up today. KOS is probably the longest video that I put together. It's the only video that has multiple statues that I've done. And it's a peek into my childhood and my nostalgia for my passion is collecting video games and comic books, and also talking about those experiences and bringing that across. Ainsley, I'm going to tell you, he is inspiration if you get a chance to see his man cave, and he collects statues as well. He's my brother from another mother. You have no idea, you know, how passionate this man is. So shady. Thank you for welcoming me on the show, Pixel. You know what it is, baby. I gotta get on your on your Big Cloud. I gotta get on your podcast. We gotta talk soon. And Primal. This I think is the first time I'm on a show with you, Primal.
Yes, this is our first time.
Yeah. So this has definitely been a great experience. Going into 2020, we have PAX coming up. We're already locked in for that. And we plan to give you everything that's on the PAX floor. We're going to have 2 teams running up and down those aisles, talking, interviews, videos, pictures, everything that you guys need from the Iron Lords. And going into E3, we're going to start booking the house. So, you know, Boom is there with us, and we're going to do bigger and better things. We have a large shindig that the wife is not expecting me to have and go to, but it's going to go down. But it's Boom. If you thought last year was any indication, I'm telling you this year, if you thought Phil came out with a swagger, when you see what we have planning, for those first 2 days alone, it's going to be something that's on your bucket list. Put it like that.
I tell you right now, Phil walks out there and rips off his pants like a wrestler and gets the PlayStation 5 and a figure 4 leg lock and makes them submit, I'm all in.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
We love those tearaway paints, but that's back in the 80s. You guys don't know anything about that tearaway pants. But anyway, Primal Eve. I don't know why I go right from tearaway pants to Primal Eve. That's
right.
That's rude.
It sounds like the natural order.
But Primal, listen, it has been way too long, and obviously, I love having you on because it's great to know that, and a lot of people don't understand this, man. The demographic for gamers is not just like it's not beat over the head like Neanderthals. It's almost split 50-50 with girl gamers and guy gamers. And you bring a lot of passion, but you also bring a bit of spiciness to when you're on podcasting with, of course, your other partner, Nukem, which is an amazing show and is coming back, which is amazing to hear. Please tell everyone where they can reach out to you on Twitter, but check out some of your other work.
Yes. Well, Boom, I just want you to know that I had to take a day off before I lose it type thing for my job. And I picked a Friday and I messaged you immediately.
Yes.
It's almost been a year since the last time I podcasted with you. It's so crazy. So I was more than thrilled to be able to do this today, and thank you guys on the panel. You're all great. It was nice meeting the new ones, and Shady and Boom. I've already dealt with you guys. So, but no, if you guys want to hear more of me, Boom brings the good girl out of me, so I'm very good on his show.
I appreciate that very much.
If you want to see a more bad side, I do have a gaming podcast, which it's not very filtered, and there is a lot of inappropriateness, if that's even a word, to it. It was a show we started earlier this year called Gaming After Dark. We did take a little break from it to kind of, it's nice just to break away from doing this all the time because it is a lot. And Boom, I have no idea how the hell you do this, especially with more than one show. Like it's ridiculous. I've seen your desk of like dreams, and I don't even know.
I have 4 screens open right now. That's why it's again. Listen, I love it. I think that it's to be able. First of all, I really do say. I mean this when I say this. I am happy to have one person watch the show, let alone have 300 people show up. And I do it for the fans. I do it and to be honest with you, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I have fans because I'm just a gamer who enjoys producing this content, and it's still, I have to pinch myself from time to time that there is actually a community that wants to hear this. So thank you for the compliment.
Hey, Primal, I've already dealt with you guys. Is it wrong of me to like the sound of that?
I've already been around the block with you guys a few times. If you guys want to tune in, like I said, you can follow me on Twitter to keep in on what's going on with the show. If you want to game with me, though, you can follow me on Xbox Primal Eve as well. I do have a PlayStation, but I recently moved, and for some reason I haven't unpacked it yet. So right now, that was like 5 months ago. So right now I just have the Xbox, and I'm more than willing. I play anything and everything. I'm not just stuck on one game. I love all games. So, and then once again, thank you for the chat. You guys have I absolutely, like I said, I haven't been podcasting, so it's really great to see some of you guys that I've been chatting with for years. So thank you again, Boom.
It's my pleasure to have you here. And really,
right now.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's definitely great to have you a part of today's special show. Ainsley, before I get to you, I have to thank a couple of people. Xbox Battlegrounds with the outstanding and generous $5 subject. He says, great podcast. You guys should do this 8 days a week. My God, I'm trying to finish 3. I would be in a coma if I tried to go any further. And of course, I am Stadian with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, gaming is great, even here on Stadia, no matter what platform you play on. We are all gaming brothers and sisters in the end. Great way to close out this show. Now, Ainsley, we had a chance to hang out, have a couple of drinks. First of all, I'm still waiting for that waitress to bring the freaking ginger ale that I would have died of thirst if I wouldn't have stolen someone else's up on that rooftop party. that we know went really, really well, and was so
you know how well it went. I gave the bar my credit card and said, "Open a tab for this group right here," and that was the dumbest decision I ever made.
Well, listen, I don't know about how big that bill is, but I'm afraid that I'm afraid to ask. But Ainsley, listen, dude, it's first of all, it's been a long time since we had on your Breakfast with Boom, and you bring it every time. You're a passionate gamer. Your Witcher statue collection is second to none. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, the Witcher series is out today,
Yes.
and it's getting rave reviews. So get ready to watch that. But you know what? You guys do a lot of magnificent work for SeasonedGaming.com. And you guys are always out there. If you're not subscribed to them on YouTube, man, go to the show notes. His link is there. Subscribe. Their podcast is amazing. They have great topics. They're great. They're seasoned gaming and gamers, I should say. And you bring, and like I said, I love what you do on your channel. Please tell everyone where they can check that out. And also follow you on Twitter, dude.
Yeah, appreciate that, Boom. Yeah, it was you guys talking about E3. It's just some great memories getting to hang out with you guys, and really good group of people. So I'm looking forward to it this year. We're already looking at plans, as King was saying, man. I cannot wait to do it all again, and it's going to be bigger and better this year. So really excited for that. Boom. I know we talk a lot about coming on here. It's always tough for me with just my career. People make me laugh because they'll reach out and they'll be like, "What are you up to?" I'm like, man, this is not my career. Like, I have a career outside of, chatting games every day. So I would love to make it when I can make it. It's always a good time. Primal, Big Cloud, Shady, good to meet you. Good to chat with you. Appreciate the stories today and the chat. So it's been a really fun morning. You can really find everything at seasonedgaming.com. Kind of my site. I'm Porsche Power everywhere on Twitter and everywhere else. So if you game on whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, where have you, you can find me at Porsche Power. But appreciate the support. Can't wait to do this again.
Well, thanks again for being here. And obviously, we're closing in on 2.5 hours. This has been an amazing show. Again, everyone that won, congratulations. Oh, wow, Wilmy Hood, you're just killing me, dude. The generosity is just not to be believed. And I'm trying to keep it in. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep it professional. He drops... I can't even say it. $100 super chat.
Wow.
And it says, great panel, great show. And again, Merry Christmas from myself and the Forking crew. Yeah, they had an amazing. Thank you so much, dude. That is just wow. I'm going to need a moment to myself once I'm off the air to kind of get, take all of this generosity in. And dude, thank you very much for that. And of course, thank you so much for the panel. You guys and gals had you take 2.5 hours out of your Friday, which you could be doing wrapping gifts or running around to be on this show. And it does mean so much to me. And of course, this community, I would not be anywhere near where I am if it wasn't for the ridiculous support. And, before we get everybody out of here, listen, if you're new, and you want this kind of podcast on a weekly basis, 6+ hours of content, free content per week, hit that subscribe button, man. Help with the sub count, and also hit the like button on your way out. But thanks again, everyone. Joe said, and I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year, and 2020 is going to be incredible for everyone. Everyone that's a gamer is going to have something to play, and I cannot wait. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your gaming. We'll see you next week.